Welcome back. It's another Saturday afternoon. It's 1:30. It's another Racing Post Live in conjunction with our sponsors, Bet365. No, it's Betfair, of course. Don't worry about it. We're going to be telling you all about the exchange. We're going to be telling you all about the sportsbook. I'm back. I've had a bucket and spade on the seaside. I'm back and it's all good. And I've got a great panel for you. It's Ebor Day, of course. Lovely, 3:35, 6 races for you. We're going to Sandown as well. Grade 1 performers everywhere. And we've got a debutant on the show. Shall we introduce her immediately? Kate Tracey in the middle of the seat. Welcome along, Kate.
Thank you so much for having me. Really, really excited to be here. And a tricky day. Really interested in today. But haven't chosen the easiest day to make my debut, I don't think.
Oh, come on now. Come on. It's just an easy Ebor for you.
Ebor and a Melrose. Yeah. What could you ask more to kickstart your Race Post Live?
Great to have you finally with us, Kate. You've been on our radar for a little while. People probably out there know loads about Kate. Don't worry about that. But just in case they don't, shall we give you a little bio? Steeped in horse racing, of course, mad keen, became a groom for Philip Hobbs, and it's all gone on from there, hasn't it?
It really has, yeah. Just pure love of the sport from a very early age. Grew up in Cornwall, no family connection to racing as such, just loved it from such a young age, and then have kind of worked my way sort of up the rankings and intermediate then eventually. Yeah. But yeah, that's been my path and loved every step of it.
And there was a little bit of a Cornish accent that came in there, wasn't there?
I knew you were going to be
so you're from Cornwall, aren't you? But you went up to Cheltenham. And listen, get your Kate's questions in, because you are very good at the social media side of things, Kate. That's kind of, you've really done well on that front. And this year's Cheltenham Festival, you were part of the Willie Mullins team. Now, Willie Mullins has the favourite for the Ebor as well. Mm-hmm. I'm not suggesting any inside information, but you can tell us, we'll be getting loads of chat with you about that as well. So it's fair to say you're entwined.
Supposedly so, but they always say that the people who are in the sport actually know the least or are the least helpful in that sense. Yeah. So we'll see if that comes to fruition. Mount Leinster, not a horse that I met during Cheltenham, but I do think he's got a serious chance, especially if the rain does come down, as some people are predicting later. And
you can probably tell that Kate doesn't mind tipping a winner or two as well. And we're easing her in because you've worked plenty with Ross Brierley, of course, haven't you?
Plenty.
Along the way. Ross is back on the show. Second week in a row that you've been doing the tipping for Betfair, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was with. Well, of course, you had last week off. You've had a whole week. You've had a whole week off, Dave.
It's the first time, do you know, since this week last year.
Wow.
I know. I did actually manage to down tools a little bit as well. So nice. It was very nice. But Enzo did a great job last week, I'm hearing.
He did. And I said to him, Enzo, I'm coming after your commentator's job as well. No, it was fun. It was nice. Yeah, and like I said, we've worked together plenty of times, but over the past 18 months, it's been mostly remote and over Zoom. Yeah. So lovely to actually spend time with, you remember people?
I know, in this close proximity, in a studio, in a room.
Yeah, human beings. Who knew? They're everywhere.
Well, indeed, they are everywhere. Yeah, quite right. So listen, we're going to have some fun this afternoon. 6 races coming your way, 1:50. It's live and interactive. Get your questions into the studio. You can do that on YouTube. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're watching that. Of course, Facebook Live. Get that chat going up. Let's have it today. Who wins the Ebor? Let us know. And anything on Twitter. #RP Live. Now, we're talking about Grade 1 tracks. We've got a Grade 1 performer over in Dublin. He's back for another stint. Barry Orr.
Good afternoon, all. Just listening to Russ there talking about coming for Enzo's job. He's not even joking. He was brilliant last week. It has to be said. He called the big race, the big sprint, and unbelievably clear and didn't miss a beat. So it's definitely something there for him if he ever decides to give up the tipping and the comedy.
I don't think it was everyone bar Ross that was on form as well, Barry, because there was something called the Great Wilfrid Sprint last week at Ripon. It looks like an absolute minefield. Someone pulled it out the bag. Loads of people messaged me when I was on the beach, believe it or not. Your man, he's just tipped just another bottle.
A broken clock, I suppose, and all that, Dave, and blind squirrels.
Not having that, Barry.
Wonderful.
I'm not having that. So listen, you're on form. Everything's for charity, of course. If you're a newbie to the show, we're going to teach you everything you need to know about the exchange. Listen, if you're new to it, as I always say, it's great fun. Get involved. We gamble responsibly here, but we're just having a bit of fun. You don't have to play in every single race. Barry will be doing that. That's the protocol on the show. We'll start with the charity trades. It is still ROR, Barry, isn't it, in August, our charity?
It certainly is, yeah. And like you say, it's just to show the functionality of the exchange and the sportsbook. We're introducing a bit into it as well. We're going to do a Lucky 15 to kick off on the sportsbook, and we'll have a couple of bets on the sportsbook where there's enhanced place terms and things like that. But primarily, yeah, just the functionality of the exchange and how it's different to the sportsbook, compare and contrast the two. And any profits from today, like every day in the month of August, we'll be going to retraining of racehorses.
Brilliant, Barry. Okay, should we get some business out of the way? People like to react to these things as well, don't they? So listen, a lucky 15, as Barry always says, and he expertly he will talk you through this. If you're not sure about the racing, we weren't sure about what the weather was doing. We'll get to that shortly at York. We were expecting the heavens to open. It just gives you a little bit of interest throughout the afternoon for a low stake. Where are we kicking off, Barry?
Yeah, I'm going to do a lucky 15 just to kick off. I believe Ross is in the hot seat. So, Ross, it's pretty straightforward. We're going to select 3 horses in York and 1 in Sandown. So, in the first one in York is Summer Night in the 225.
Lovely. Yep, Summer's Night. 6 places there, Barry.
Yeah, Primo Bacio in the 3 o'clock, First Kiss.
There we go. Primo Bacio.
In the Ebor at 3:35, Fujera Prince.
Fujera Prince, okay. There we go.
And in the 240 in Sandown, Saffron Beach. So I fancy those 4 horses. I'm putting them in a lucky 15. And what a lucky 15 is, it's 6 doubles, 4 trebles, 4 singles, and 1 accumulator bet. And we're going to do it each way. Like it says, lucky 15. It's 15 bets for £1 each way. It's going to cost us 30 quid. So we're going to place that. And if that comes in, it's a pretty penny for the charity now, it has to be said. But even if we get a couple of them up, we'll get cross doubles, and if we get 3 of them up, we get cross doubles and trebles and the places as well. So it could pay a few quid, but sometimes it's a nice way to duck out. Like you say, Dave, bit of a question mark about the ground in York now. I'm sure you guys are going to discuss that further, but I did all my form for good ground. And then when I saw the rain this morning, I kind of had to reassess a couple of selections. But be interesting to see what it's like for the first race, because as you know, the favourite in the first Real Worth really wants top of the ground.
Yeah, I think, Barry, with this being the first race at York, by the time we pick it up here on RP Live, we've often had a race or two, haven't we? So we are going into the unknown somewhat. Ross will be keeping a beady eye on the race times. That's the way we'll know. The fact that Real World is turning up here means that it's probably not that bad. Do you remember he was pulled out? Wasn't it a Goodwood, wasn't it? I think. Where was he supposed to run? Haydock. There we are, Kate. Bringing up the level, okay.
Assists.
1 time.
Yeah, and first assist in off the par. I love it. He wasn't going to, because it was terrible weather there, like it can be at Haydock. But the fact he's running, it means it probably is good ground, isn't it, at the moment, we're expecting, as they have officially described it as. They've downgraded it.
Yeah, well, I mean, we can see it on the TV. Just to jump back, by the way, £5,078.76 if that each way that lucky 15 comes in, by the way. So there you go. There's the payout for those 4. And yeah, on screen now we can see York, and it's perfectly fine. It's a bit overcast. And it's been pretty fast ground this week. So it was going to take a lot of rain to turn it genuinely soft. I think Real World, unless it had been absolutely torrential rain, would have turned up anyway, just because, like you said, you don't know until the first race. Plus, York is York, isn't it? I mean,
I've heard a lot of that this week.
Yeah.
York is York. We'll get to that throughout the afternoon.
Standard logic doesn't apply, does it?
Mm-hmm.
We put some bogey tracks up recently. We asked people out there. We always love our viewers telling us, we put something up. I've got something for you viewers as well. We've got a bit of time in between the penultimate race and the Ebor to answer everything for you out there if the chat is hotting up at the moment. Bogey tracks, and I put mine up as York.
Mm-hmm.
The most
Why you've
obvious.
had the week off.
I tell you what, not a bad move, is it?
Yeah.
Absolutely. We'll see. I don't know. You know what it's like? You have a week off, don't you? Come back, you see the ball big, don't you? You think, right, I'm refreshed, I'm ready to go. I fancy a few today, and we're all in agreement on a couple as well. Especially with Barry's lucky 15. We all like Primo Bacio, don't we? Can I get that out of the way? Do we all like Primo Bacio?
Yeah, I thought I was being really original until I walked in here.
We've got Space Blues, who's like unbeatable around a bend. 7 fellas, but. Yeah, so there's a lot of agreement going on. I think we're going to have a good afternoon. Now, I saw you on the Racing Post app there, as Barry was doing. Have you just followed him in with that lucky 15 of yours? So you were going, I was like, hang on a minute. That's
Quick fingers.
It's amongst us all, Kate. Yeah.
I know that I completely agree with Barry on most of those selections, to be honest. Saffron Beach, I thought, was the biggest danger as such. She does have everything in her favour here, but there wasn't a single horse of those 4 there for the lucky 15 that I disagree with, not whatsoever. So I really like the look of that.
We could do with a bit of luck pre-Ebor time, Ross, couldn't we? Which is, a lot of people see it as a pin job, but I don't know, especially with the rain that was coming. But
well, this is the thing. The worst thing is, though, rain before a meeting, fair enough, you can kind of adjust. You can go, okay, what's the going stick? What are we looking at? How are we going to play this? Rain mid-meeting, where gradually it gets softer, does make it very difficult. So at the moment, it isn't raining at York, but if it starts raining after the Strensall Stakes, by the time we get to the Ebor, it could be a completely different proposition. And I mean, and also then you're doing the study as well, doing the study the day before, thinking, okay, it's going to rain, and then you get to the race and you think, okay, like for example, Tribal Craft, I think we all quite fancy to run a big race.
You're letting them all go now. We might as well get them all up, wouldn't we? I mean,
but if it doesn't rain, then Tribal Craft suddenly Tribal Craft will either be second favourite or 33 to 1.
So we're weather dependent on the Naysmire, which could become the Quagmire. By
Yes.
3:35. All right, okay. We're off and running. Let's get a social up to get us off and running on the social corner as well. Mark Smith comes on. Mark, welcome. Hi all. I really fancy my Oberon on the first. Looks a massive prize to me. Right, before we go down the panel, let's see how Barry is approaching this first. This is, of course, the Group 3 Strensel Stakes.
Yeah, I thought the favourite, Dave. He's a horse that I'm very familiar with, having done my selection in the Royal Hunt Cup, and then I backed the Rab last time out when getting £9 off the favourite and off Real World, and he looked in trouble. He traded high in running. He traded at 19 in running Real World that day in Newbury, but Jane, he finished off his race so well. He looks a proper horse. He was 6-4 when we first went up with this race. If he was 6-4 now, I'd be a backer of him, Dave. He's not. He's 206 now. He's heading towards even money. When it looked like it was going to come up soft earlier on this morning, he went on a little drift. But conceivably, he could go off odds on now. He's 206 at the moment. I don't see a lot of pace here. I think they'll try to settle the favourite in behind. Bell's Rock could be prominent. But one horse that I think will be prominent is El Drama. And if he got a soft lead up front, I think he could run a big race. So what I'm going to do, Ross, I'm going to look to back him and lay him back in running to green up. So that's where we can't lose. But it all dependent on laying him back in running. But we're going to have 25 quid on him now at 10. And we're going to put in to lay him at 4 in running, and we'll take 50 quid out of him in running, so he'll be still winning us about the guts of 80 quid, and if we get matched at 4 in running, everything else will be winning us at 25 quid, so we can't lose. But that's dependent on you keeping that bet in play, so you select the keep bet function, so once the bet race goes in play, that bet stays in play as well. If we didn't select that keep bet function, the bet would be taken down when the race goes in play. So yeah, back in El Drama, because I think he could get a soft lead in front, and I'm hoping we'll be able to trade out of it in play.
Isn't that interesting? El Drama then, to certainly create some drama according to the market, because he's been quite easy to back, but as Barry alluded to, he does have some rather good form.
Just a double check, by the way, Barry, it was 25 to win and then lay it back for 50, right? So it'd be a 25 quid profit if he wins.
There we are.
El Drama will be winning us. El Drama will be winning us at 10. He'll be winning us about 60, 70 quid, no? And the rest be winning us 25.
I'll tell you what, we're keeping all of us on our toes first and foremost.
I've got 25 quid at night at 10, which is obviously 225 quid profit. If we lay it back at 4, that's 50 for 50 quid. That's a 200.
Oh, sorry, 3. Lay it back at 4 even.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll take 25 quid or 50 quid out of him at 4.
Yeah.
So what are you looking at there? So El Drama would still be winning us 80 odd quid, and the rest will all be winning us 25 if we get matched, yeah?
Love it.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, why is that? Yeah, okay. It's just coming up. Yeah, I've got it. Yeah.
I love this. We've just had an interactive lesson on how to use the exchange. I felt like I was on countdown.
I see. Right. Okay. Sorry. It was selected payout rather than liability. That's why I was looking at it thinking I'm very confused here. So that makes sense. Okay. Let me try. I'll change that.
Are you with us, Ross Brierley?
I'm with it. Yeah.
You're with Mark Smith, aren't you? You're not with Barry. You're with Mark Smith, who is all over my Oberon. I saw last night, Ross Brierley, that you were rather keen on this as well. My Oberon. Were you expecting Real World to be taken out, man?
No, not at all. No, I just think my Oberon's a bit of a silly price, really. This horse he won the Earl of Sefton earlier on in the season in a pretty impressive fashion, and since then he's gone to Newbury and Longchamp and Ascot, running Group 1 races. The Prix d'Isfahan got beaten and necked by Scaletti. Every single horse in that race has come out and won a group race since, including the winner going in Group 1 company. Tilsey was down the fields, won a Group 2. But the main thing for me was, he's a quality horse, but he's a York horse. He bolted up in his maiden here by 6 or 7 lengths. Haggis absolutely loves the track. He's just had a winner over at Sandown. Yard's horses are absolutely firing. Real World has to step up. And he has to prove that he can do it on York. And there's no way in hell I am ever going to back a horse at 11 to 10 who's never run at York.
Yeah.
We've just been saying it every single time. Yesterday at York, apart from the Convivial Maiden, every single winner had run at the track. The first 5 home in the handicap had run at the track. Winter Power, you saw horses there, Sueza and Dragon Symbol, better horses than Winter Power. But at the track, They could not go with her.
First controversial statement of the day from Ross Brierley. Okay, yeah, what are your highlights so far of the week? We'll have plenty of time to talk about York, of course. Here we join on Ebor Day. Who was with Mishriff? That was a big prize, wasn't it? Of course, Tony Ennis, of course, who sat in this seat so ably last week. It's an almost embarrassing following that he's got for this horse. You remember when they had the Corto Star and Denman scarves and stuff? I think he's definitely got some memorabilia somewhere at home, Enzo. His favourite horses is something that I'd like to concentrate on today. Kate, you've looked after some worldies in your time, haven't you?
Yes.
You gave me one name at Hobbs's that was your favourite.
My absolute standout horse, Fingal Bay. He gave me some of the best days of my life. I'm not going to say that I'm being dramatic with that, because he did. When he won the Temps final at the Cheltenham Festival, that was probably the best day of my life. I was fortunate enough to ride him out every day, did all his work, got even to school him, told you how safe he was as a jumper. The fact that they let me actually jump him, and my favourite horse of all time. Yeah.
Favourite horses of all time. Let's have it out there. I'm going to ask Ross and Barry as well. I've got a really random one, but let's get back to the race. Okay, so my Oberon for Ross, York form, real world, too short, bit of rain, and what's he going to do at York? It is a bit of a red herring track, isn't it, Kate?
Massively so. And this could potentially be my first mistake of the day, which won't be the first at York, is that York form that Ross has just been alluding to, of how important it is. And the fact that year after year, I go into York so confident with form, and time again, I overlook York form. And so I'm siding with Real World, I'm still going against the grain. But yeah, with Real World, I just think he's a seriously smart performer, this horse. I mean, he's a 4-year-old, which is already a positive for this race. He's just a much better horse on turf, and he just really didn't take to the dirt in Meydan. And the best part about this horse, which can so often be the case with horses on dirt, they can get soured from running on dirt. And the best part that I saw from this horse is the fact that he managed to bounce back on his turf debut, and to win the Hunt Cup in the style that he did was outstanding, showing that he suffered no ill effects from his time running on the dirt in Meydan. And to be able to win the Royal Hunt Cup in that manner, despite
ridiculous performance,
the high draw bias, despite that.
Back that up, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people were like, oh, is it one of those funny results? You know, beat
Which it could have been. I mean, we've seen Godolphin horses go and win Lincolns and Hunt Cups
and then go completely
never
missing.
With the cheek pieces fitted for the first time as
the
well.
Bunbury Cup winner, they go up into group company and they can't, you know, all these
Marco
horses.
Gianni, as they crossed the line, I mean, I get they fit you in, he's like, yes, this is a proper horse, I'm going to be right.
Every young jockey needs a pivotal horse, and he has got a real worldie here, isn't
And he's come back from injury just for him as well, hasn't he? From his fractured knee, was it? And a ligament
character,
damage?
Marco, isn't he?
Yeah. Oh, he's brilliant as well. He's a brilliant.
I was the trainer as well, because Charlie Appleby, I mean, if you're Saib bin Saror, you sat at home thinking, I mean, yeah, we're having a great year, but none of them are mine, and this is by far his best horse. So
yes, of course, didn't get the anti-post favourite into the Ebor, did he? Of course. So,
No, and that was very sporting. They didn't take out their the Godolphin other runner.
We were talking about this yesterday.
Anyway.
We'll get to this. A lot of people say, well, Global Storm will come out. You know, if it was like a jumps for eternity, you might get a self-certification or something like that coming out. But we're talking about a global powerhouse operation here. They don't do that sort of thing. So if you had just 2 horses, you're putting your other one out, aren't you? But anyway, so I'm with Real World as well. I was all ready to tip my Oberon in this, and I had a closer inspection, £3 to Real World. If there's a bit of a pace on, and Barry's alluded to, maybe El Drama will be the one that spices it up front. I love the way he got out of a pocket last time. The form's worked out okay. Solid Stone is a horse that was third to him last time. One of my horses, Solid Stone, is a nice race in him. He ran well over an inadequate trip at Salisbury next time out. That'll do for me. I'm expecting to see something near a Group 1 performance here.
I mean, it'd have to be, wouldn't it? It would have to be. Or even but even then, if it isn't, there's a potential for York being the problem here. We should mention quickly as well, Brunch as well, who's a proper York horse.
There's loads of characters in here. Lord Glitters. Dan Walsh, delighted to say Dan Walsh comes back into the studio and joins us in the gallery.
Duke
Loves
of
this
Hazzard.
horse.
Oh, God. As well.
Don't go there with the Duke.
We can't.
His connections are tearing their hair out about the Duke.
Yeah.
But he's too talented.
He is a hazard, isn't he?
Well, absolutely. The Duke has become a hazard. Yeah. All right, Barry, they're going behind. What's the market saying now? Is he drifting at all, this Fav?
No, he was down to 202 at one stage, 206 now, 5-5 my Oberon, 10 Brunch, El Drama at the 12-5, 13-5 Lord Glitters, and 17 Burke.
Okay, all right. So It looked like he might go odds on, didn't it? A lot of people maybe not sure about the ground. If this was rattling quick, that's what they think he wants. He was pulled out of Haydock not that long ago. So let's see. We're going to be off and running. Final day of 4 glorious days at York. Keep your social interaction coming in. You viewers, you make the show. You can do so on YouTube, of course, on the chat, Facebook Live. But we're about to go off, so let's get Brierley to get us a call, shall we?
Okay, there we go. Yeah, lovely stuff ready just about for the Strensel. In fact, we just got one at the back, Bell Rock. See, this, and now I'm getting the realities of being a commentator, handing over when...
Was that a hospital pass hand, was it?
It wasn't.
I thought it was just about, I think they're going off. Yeah,
I do watch some commentators. I think sometimes they go, "Well, go over to the commentary box now," and you're like, "Oh, there's still 12 horses to load." So just one is fine, and that is Bell Rock in the white cap of the Fitchery Hayes Silks, and they're ready and off and racing away. And slowest away, Lord Glitters and My Oberon. Those two will be settled out the back, and we'll see where the early pace comes from. And as Barry predicted, it is likely to be El Drama who comes through to lead it up from Bell Rock in second place. Real World settles on the heels of those two. Brunch is just being rushed up as well. William Buick does not want to be held up off the back of this fairly muddling pace, and in fact Brunch is now going to pull himself to the front and take on El Drama. So this is a bit of a strange race, really. Real World is trapped 3 wide. My Oberon, who was very keen last time out, has settled nicely in behind. Lord Glitters is out in last, but yeah, muddling pace. Brunch doesn't quite know what to do with himself, but El Drama has hit the front here, and Barry. He hasn't shortened yet, but it's York. They don't quite know what to do with it in running, I don't think, early doors.
Yeah, he called it, Barry.
Yeah, now the favourite's shortened all the time into 188 now. It's 5 My Oberon, 8-6 El Drama, but favourite looks to have them all covered.
It's just whether he's doing a little bit too much, Kate, isn't
That's
he?
the question. I was just going to say that was my initial question, especially because he wasn't getting much cover early on, Marco Gianni. Naturally, you didn't expect him to. He's sweaty beforehand. But the way he's tanking into this contest, the pace has been holding up for a week.
Here comes the hazardous Duke.
Yeah, he travels like a very good horse, but El Drama still in front. Real World is on the bridle. My Oberon looking for a gap as well. Lord Glitters is struggling to get involved. Here comes Duke of Hazard. Brunch over the far side, but it is Real World. El Drama. Will York find out the favourite? My Oberon is coming through with the challenge as well. Real World has hit the front. Lord Glitters begging for room. This is York when the rain gets in a bit. They come over to this near side, and it can be difficult. Real World has hit the front, and he's galloping on remorselessly. Lord Glitters is running on, as he always does, into a place into second, but Marco Gianni likes this horse, and he's given him a very confident ride. Second was Lord Glitters. Third is going to go to Bell Rock, but Real World has won that like a real horse.
Yes, a real worldie, as we thought he was, Barry. The story of the race, you knew some way out.
Yeah, he'd never traded any bigger than his BSP, Dave, of 208. So nearly 11 to 10 is Betfair SP, and nothing traded short in the race. He had them all covered at every stage for my money. Interesting, he's in the QE2, so I'm just waiting to get a quote on that. That's shaping up to be some race if we've Badid in there as well. So we've got a lot to look forward to, but I'm just going to get a quote for the QE2 now.
Thank you very much, Barry. Oh, yes, indeed. Anti-post. Let's hear your anti-post selections as well. It's been some week, isn't it? The top of the divisions, they're pretty much set now, aren't they? It's just the mile division that we missed this week. Who's the best sprinter? Who's the best middle horse? Wasn't it great to see Stradivarius come back yesterday as well? We'll get to that. Real World, then. You know, if you're a regular viewer here, how much I love watching jockeys celebrate. And that was a proper Gianni celebration, wasn't it?
Yeah,
stood up in the stirrup space if you didn't see it and give it a bit of this.
Wafting the stick. Yeah, no, he's such a character though, isn't he, Marco Gianni? He's so likeable, and he's I mean, you know, the worst thing you can do is kind of tout some of these younger jockeys as sort of the next coming as such. But he has been touted as the next Frankie by so many people, and with this sort of these personality traits that go with him, and the fact he's come back from that injury, which could have been horrific, that could have been awful, and to come back for this ride, he said he's his favourite horse in training. He thinks he's a Group 1 horse. He's been very bullish about that in the week. And that performance, considering how keen he was early on, sweating beforehand, that was a seriously likeable performance in a Group 3. So you would say he's not too far off.
Likeable horse, likeable jockey, likeable trainer, likeable colours. Where does the ceiling reach Ross Brierley?
Well, I mean, the QE2 is one thing, but the Champion Stakes is absolutely perfect for him, surely. 10 furlongs, I would say he's absolutely spot on for this horse, given the... I mean, he's travelled, but he's also galloped them into submission late on,
Yeah, he's in it as well, isn't he? So Champions Day, back to Ascot, just hoping for some fair weather like a lot of them, aren't they? Again, that will rear its head, won't it, the position
especially
of Champions
Ascot,
Day.
yeah.
It gets, well, you remember Strad versus Trushan last year, it was, you know...
Well, it
beat
just
him
becomes
after a furlong, wasn't he?
I mean, and it is frustrating because they call it Champions Day and you want all the horses to turn up and race on the proper ground. I guess on the flip side, it actually gives, if you've got a soft ground performer and you're like, oh, great, yeah, well, that's fantastic. You all want good ground, but we've got a soft ground horse and we never get a chance to win a Group 1. So you at least get a chance at the back end of the year for that. And, if you've got a fast ground horse, you run in the summer, you've got a soft ground horse, you run in the autumn. But I mean, he's not exactly got a completely daisy-cutting action, has he? And
he's a son of Dark Angel, and we know Dark Angel's progeny record on soft ground as well. So he hasn't been tried on it. So I wouldn't be dismissing him on any sort of soft ground. I know he's taken out of Haydock on the account of soft ground, but
it's Haydock ground, isn't there?
It's a different entity.
AP McCoy famously said there's heavy ground, there's Foss Lass heavy, for example, ever since. It's certain grounds do seem to be deeper than others, don't they, at different courses. OK, so we're off to a sizzling start then. Couple on the panel had it. My Oberon, just go through a couple of beaten horses. A little bit underwhelmed, Ross?
Yeah, I mean, it was a funny one. For a York horse, he didn't seem to be particularly enjoying the drive, which was strange. And he kind of... This is the other thing we're going to see today, isn't it, at York, is all week they've been coming far side to middle. A little bit of rain gets in and suddenly they come down this near side rail. But you get so much more trouble down this rail. Because they don't race up it very often as well. I think jockeys kind of...
What are they going to do in the Ebor?
Yes.
Well, exactly. But quite often they come down this near side in the Ebor. I mean, they did when Mustajeer won it a few years ago. And Mustajeer was drawn 2, for example, that day. Ended up coming down the middle. All the supposedly advantaged wide-drawn horses who weren't going to get into trouble suddenly found...
It's only this season that they've kept far side at York, isn't it? So look, York is one of these tracks. You never know what they're going to do at any given time. The one thing we can say is with Real World skipping to glory like that, the ground isn't that bad thus far. How much rain will it take to turn it into a quagmire? We shall find out. But at the moment, only the odd brolly up we're seeing, so light drizzle at the moment on the Knavesmire. Shall we go to Esher?
Just going to say, it was fast by 0.84 seconds.
There
so
we are.
Quick ground.
Yeah, that's not good in. Yeah.
And the one horse that is out so far of the Ebor is also called Mekong, who is something of a soft ground lover. So one of that tells a tale as well for the Osborne team as well. So Real Well gets us off to a start. Lord Glitters, what a run that was from him as well. Mile 2 horse, I think we can say that now. Long season, beautiful campaign, of course, in May down at the start of the year. Just finds it difficult against an up-and-comer now. And Duke of Hazard, who put himself back on track somewhat, but we're going to need a parachute for that cliff project, I think, can't we?
Yeah, he's. I don't know. He's strange, isn't it? Obviously, he's quirky. Some horses are quirky, and some horses they have their quirks. But Lord Glitters is quirky.
He's
but
friend
he's
of the show, Ollie Cole, as you know, and they are absolutely devastated that he's not come back. It's right up there.
But sometimes horses they are a bit, spooky, and then they have one day where they go hurrah. But Duke of Hazard this season,
Yeah.
All right, so listen, short prize favourite takes out the opener. We've got another short prize favourite because it's Solario time. And we're talking about Real World. He's the roll call of honour here. Too Darn Hot, Massard, Derby winners all over the place. The real good ones, Ravens Pass, they all come to this, usually for John Gosden, Barry Orr. And it's fair to say that Reach for the Moon and Her Majesty is a hot pot.
Yeah, he looked a nice sort in the Chesham when just getting touched off by Point Lonsdale, who incidentally goes tonight in the Futurity in the Curragh. He's a 4-1 on chance for that. He's very, very well fancied, obviously. But Reach for the Moon then stepped back into maiden company just to lose that maiden tag last day. It was very impressive. And he's the one they all have to beat. Obviously, he's 148. He's 2-1 on at the moment. What I'm going to do here, though, Ross, we're going to look into without market. So your horse can win the race, or if the favourite wins and your horse comes second to him, you still get paid. So it's called two chances. You have two chances of winning. It's in the without market. Star From Afar is the horse I like. The only filly in the field. I thought she pulled it out really. She showed a really good attitude on the July course when she won her maiden. The second is won since. The fourth is won since as well. So the form seems to be working out okay. She gets the £3 allowance. She's currently around 345. So I'm happy to be a price taker here. We're going to have 25 quid on her in the without the favourite market. I think the favourite will win if he handles the ground, which no reason why he shouldn't. And I think she'll run a big race.
OK, right. Well, I don't think you're alone there, Barry. Or that's the second charity trade then if you want to get involved. What is it, 2:05? So around about 6 or 7 minutes. 2-year-olds always take a little bit longer to get into the stalls. Plenty of time to follow in Barry or there. Listen, we're all kind of the same on this, aren't we? We think we've got a pretty nice horse, don't we? Point Lonsdale, who Barry alluded to, looks their horse at the moment, the Quarto 2-year-old, if you like, who goes 1-1-1-1. The Too Darn Hot, if you like, who took out this race. The now 2-year-old will be very difficult to beat tonight before maybe Dewhurst and all that sort of thing. This chap would like another go at him later on, though, Ross, wouldn't it? And very, very hard to beat for a team that are in solid form again and love this race.
They do absolutely love this race, yeah. Of course, the last 10 years they've won it with Kingman and Too Darn Hot, which is
Kingman was the one I was trying to think of.
Yeah.
Talk about favourite horses out there.
Yeah, he was. It's hard with a horse like that when I think favourite horses. Sometimes you want 3 or 4 seasons to really get on board with them. But Kingman was fantastic from the get go. They have had a few beaten in the past 10 years, but there's a definite level of ability you have to come to win this race. Lowest maiden winning RPR of winners of this in the past 10 years.
He's had a look.
84. So 84 is the level. 84 is the level. Gosden, Kingman and Too Darn Hot. Kingman was 96 when winning on debut. Too Darn Hot ran to 94 when winning. And the threes had beaten, ran to 88, 79 and 85. So, plus 90 plus on RPRs for a win gives you, a huge chance of winning this race. And that's what the favourite has achieved.
One's come out, of course, isn't it? Paul Keeley, you've been working with this week. I have as well. He put it up in his Sizzlers today. Crester's come out for Martin Mead and Richard Kingscote, but still, it wasn't enough to make him this short. I don't think, was it? This is one that everyone's included, I imagine, in multiples along the coastline.
Well, he just sets such a good standard, and he's not like a once-raced. Oh, how good is he? We know how good he is. The sixth from that race won next time out. And then won the nursery earlier on, literally at 1:30 today at Sandown. Sorry?
Harrow in the week as well, Barry, wasn't it? Yeah.
The nursery during the week.
Oh, yeah, no, Harrow. Yeah, of course. Yeah, Harrow won as well. So Harrow's won this week. And the
Hannon horse went close yesterday in the Convivial, didn't it? It was third, I think, to it as well. So, look, in a way, he won that. Form. He was very coltish as well, we should say, in the prelims, apparently, at Newbury. So, he's a bit of a boyo, as they say. And if he even settles down a little bit here, it's a formidable target to aim at. Although
it's Hamaki, by the Hamaki, who finished 6th, beaten 9.5 lengths, won off 76 very easily at 1:30
Not
today.
the best horse, according to the handicapper, though, at the moment in here. Austrian Theory, of course, has dipped his toes into... Is that a bit of a weird figure, then?
Yes.
You're shaking your head and going, oh, what's going on here?
I do think that's very misleading on form so far. I wouldn't be taking the official ratings here as saying that he is £1 better than Reach for the Moon. Yeah, I think that he was...
I think that's about to blown on its head. Sometimes you can see.
No, I do think that mark does flatten.
But you are in agreement with Barry, the two of you, aren't you, before I get my selection? Let's go down the panel then, because you're both thinking that Andrew Balding is going to give this favourite something to think about with A Star From Afar.
Yes, and this filly, I think the last time a filly won this race, it was a long time ago, at least anyway. But so that trend isn't in her favour. But apart from that, Star From Afar, she really does have all of the trends in her favour here. Is the value against the favourite at least. Her second career start, which is a positive. She's already won over 7 furlongs. Good without a standout winner on her debut start, but more importantly, the significant step forwards that Andrew Balding's runners take from their debut to their second start is significant. We saw it with Berkshire Shadow in the Coventry. We saw it with Wilderness Girl and a second start at Glorious Goodwood. So, earlier on this week as well. So there should be plenty of hope that she can take the necessary step forwards here, getting weight from her male counterpart. So, for all, I'm not overly keen on Still One for her, but hopefully she'll still be able to take a lead in this race, which should...
Why not Still One? That's interesting.
Just some recent runnings of this race, it has been a bit of a coffin box, really.
You're really in agreement, aren't you?
Well, because that 1:30 at Sandown earlier, they did what they did at York. They all came off the rail, and we've seen it time and time again this season that you can I'd say the last couple of Sandown meetings, the wider you've challenged, the better, really. So that was the one thing I was going to say, that the ability-wise, I think she's definitely got it, and she will improve. And Balding, first time out again this season. I just had a look. He's second time out, 2-year-olds, 5 from 27 plus 18 quid. When winning on debut, they finished first, fifth, and second in black type company, including Imperial Force at York this week. But yeah, you can get trapped on that rail. You can be looking for room, and Sandown is, because of the finish uphill. It can be, you want to get into a rhythm, don't you?
Yeah.
If you're stuck on the rail looking for room,
can be a front runner's track as well, can't it? So he's not going to mess around on this, is he? So you both think it's interesting, the fillies angle there, Kate. It's really interesting. I hadn't thought about that. So. And you've obviously had a good look at it as well. Oisin Murphy could have gone to York, couldn't he, for the riches. 300 grand to the winner of the Ebor, of course, comes here. We've got the Atlanta Stakes at 240 as well. I like Great Max, kind of without. But also I think that if they're more patient with this chap, then he wasn't he didn't get the run of the race in the Chesham. Barry's already alluded to that form working out real strong. And they rode him too prominently last time. Yeah,
Chesham, I think.
I just think he just got a bit far back. It was a funny pace. Point Lonsdale, if you remember, hit a flat spot, then ran on again. If they're more patient with him, I can see him finishing strongly. Whether he's good enough to beat his favourite, I don't know. I wouldn't be backing all day in the favourite, to be honest.
No, absolutely not. I think, I have an overwhelmingly strong tendency to try and take short price favourites on. But this one I thought, he should win.
Yeah.
We were saying about fillies, by the way. I can't work out when the last one was, but 1984, this was won by Oh So Sharp.
That was one, yeah. Didn't want to misquote them. But
filly. She was an absolutely brilliant filly. Who was around for Oh So Sharp? Is that your favourite horse? After this, I'll be going to that section. But it is the Solario Stakes. I'll take command, if you don't mind, Mr. Brierley.
Go for it.
Just, of course, the 6 runners here, nice and easy for Dave Orton. And we said it could be a front-runner's track. It looks like Austrian Theory and Star from Afar, Oisin Murphy, keen to get on with it. Now, I've been watching a lot of Sandown this season, and Oisin gets straight on with it here. He knows. There was a filly of Simon Dow's, I completely forget her name. He tore off, got a breather in, went again, made the other jockeys look like they had custard on their faces. But he is in front from the sweating Austrian Theory, best horse, according to the handicapper. Reach for the moon, bit keen on the inside. Great Max out the back, happy to see that. The maiden, Atherby, Saffron Beach for James Chapel Hyam in the next race. Big chance for her. He's just off the pace as well. And Michael O'Callaghan's horse, rerouting. Interesting Irish raider. Barry Orr, they're swinging in. What's the market saying?
Yeah, still 2's on the favourite, 150, 5.7 Star from Afar. Austrian Theory 25, 6.6 Star from Afar now. So it looks Star from Afar shortening the favourite though, 2-5.
Yeah, 2 furlongs out, Ross Brierley.
Yeah, Star from Afar maybe probably done a bit too much. I think the favourite's good. I mean, he's just eating up the ground, isn't he? He's bolted up. Yeah. He's absolutely bolted up.
Yeah, he's gone short. You can see it there on the exchange. You see the market live here as we're doing this show. He's absolutely torn it up. Right down the middle of the track, which is very interesting. The filly hasn't really turned up. Looks like it's going to be his old rival, Great Max, who's ridden patiently again today, shown his true colours, but they can't live with this chap. Earlier in the season, John, joined by his son Thady Gosden. We haven't got the young horses. They've got one serious filly called Inspiral, also one at Sandown. He loves this race. They've got another one here, Barry Orr. Reach for the moon.
Yeah, nothing in running there to report, Dave, to be perfectly honest with you. Traded at a high pre-race of 152 and didn't trade any bigger than that in running. Great Star from Afar traded at a low for small money of 5.1. That's about it. Its favourite always had them covered.
Yeah, absolutely, Barry. You'd think, looking at their horses, I'm going to stick with you, Barry, here because I'm after that anti-post quote about Real World as well. It's Champagne Stakes, Dewhurst next for this chap. Do you think Guineas?
Dewhurst, Royal Lodge, he's in both of them.
All
I'm just waiting for a quote to come true on them. Just incidentally, Real World 8 from 10 for the QE2 and 8 from 12 for the Champion Stakes. 7 from 10 for the Royal Lodge, the winner there. Just waiting for a Dewhurst quote.
Do you like that quote, Barry? Are you a Real World fan after this? Didn't really hear from you on this. I mean, can he get anywhere near a Palace Pier?
Can he get anywhere near a Palace Pier? He's an improving horse. The ground would be key to him, I'm sure. I wouldn't like to. I don't even think they'll chance him on soft ground, to be perfectly honest with you. So if it came up soft in the QE2 or Champion Stakes, they wouldn't run him. But he's an improving type. I'd like to see the makeup of a field before making a decision. But I think he's a really, really good horse.
Yeah. So again, with that 8-1, then Barry, Orr a bit more positive than I thought Barry might be there. We're just going to wait for a bit of an Indian summer then for him, aren't we? And hope it keeps going. We haven't had much of a summer, Kate, have we?
No. I was going to say, did you not enjoy one on your holiday?
Not well. It was a mixed bag, like most of the weekends we seem to be having at the minute. Yeah, not really. Do you like this chap, this 2-year-old? Do you think he is a Kingman or is he vulnerable to a real worldie?
This lad.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really impressive. And with this race, I mean, when you look back through Etonian, I mean, he was well beaten in the Dewhurst, just didn't fire positive, didn't fire in the Dewhurst. I really wanted to see a winner that was going to hark back to the Too Darn Hot kind of winner of this race, which is exactly what he's done there for me, at least anyway. So I've been waiting for the Solario Stakes to come back to point us in the direction of a Dewhurst. It's how you weigh up the 2-year-old form this season. I haven't been blown away by it, but I do think that Reach for the Moon has had that standout piece of form. I do think that the Chesham is a standout piece of 2-year-old form. Whether or not Lysail now on the back of yesterday's win is going to factor into that, it's how you weigh up the pair of them. But for me, the Cheshire form still takes hold.
And the nod to the gym crack there from Kate Tracey. Great to have Kate Tracey with us. She knows her stuff, doesn't she? 100%. And start from far. And you started with the real world, sizzling.
Yes.
Welcome to RP Live, by the way. This is how it works.
Yes.
This is how it works. You've got a bit of the Brierley brush about you at the moment. Because a star from afar ran like my Oberon. Even worse.
Yeah, well, I mean, the one box was tried to be circumnavigated by
circumnavigated,
basically.
There's a word.
Yes.
Yeah, circumnavigated, one of the two. Was basically like, I don't want to be trapped on the rail, so I'm going to go and make the run in. But it was notable. I mean, Great Max and the favourite both came wide down the centre of the track, and like I said, they did in the first race at Sandown as well. And it always confuses me a little bit when a horse does something on debut and then they completely change tactics second time out.
Yeah.
You win on debut, you find plenty for pressure, you stay on up the hill at Newmarket, and then they go, right, let's try and make the run in. But I think that was probably because they thought, well, we can't beat the favourite if we try and do what the favourite's going to do. And I don't think anything would have beat the favourite. I think I think he's a really nice horse, and
Ultimately, there are people out there who be saying he's beaten his old rival by about the same sort of distance in Great Max. Has he just run to form? Is it a marginal PB? There's not much good to firm on that round track, by the way, is there?
No, absolutely not. But I mean, he's done it with one turn of foot under hands and heels without being asked a question whatsoever, and also in completely different fashion. At Ascot, of course, he tried to make a lot of the running, which is a terrible thing to do at Ascot. And I watched it back again this morning, and I was like, I still can't believe...
He just beaten Ascot, wasn't he, of course?
Yeah, he ran an absolute corker. And the difference between a lot of, A, the 2-year-old horses this year, and B, winners of this in the past, is that he is bred to stay. He's closely related to a horse called Chalk Stream, who has been winning over 10 furlongs this season. And he looks a proper miler.
Royal family indeed, yeah, the blue bloods, as we call them, from Her Majesty, from the Dams line all the way down.
Of all the 2-year-olds, the 2-year-old and 3-year-old season are almost completely separate, aren't they?
Yes, yeah.
The early season 2-year-olds, none of these are going to be running in the
Lovely to have a rivalry going into the Duos, wouldn't it?
Yes,
You
yeah.
know what I mean? Like,
well, hopefully Point Lonsdale will.
We're seeing it in the Stayers division, we're seeing it in the sprinters, we've got it in the middle distance now, of course. It'd be lovely to see some 2-year-olds that have got some collateral form and, old rivalries, 1-1 and all that sort of thing. We're seeing it with the sprinters. Asymmetrics, LaSalle, they're going to hook up again, aren't they? That sort of thing.
And you should have an app. I mean, Appleby's got Native Trail and New Science, and so there are actually quite a few potential Dewhurst runners. So hopefully, it will be a nice match. But I think Lusail, if I had Lusail, I'd send him for the Middle Park. I think he'd be.
Would you? You would, yeah. And Commonwealth Cup horse.
Memas, his sire running.
Yeah.
Did he win it? He didn't win it, did he, Memas? No,
Did he win it?
I don't think he did.
That's the question.
He didn't. Off the top of my head. He wasn't one of my favourite horses, Memas, so I can tell you that much. I kept trying to get him beat. I kept trying to get see the Stars beat. I've said that a few times on this show. It's absolute horrendous.
No, he didn't win it. He was slowly into stride, and a horse, and the Last Lion made all. Blue Point in second.
Wow.
Yes,
John
is it
Brown
Blue?
colours,
Yeah, that was it. Yeah.
All right. Okay, 2 races off and running. We are then. We're cooking with gas here on RP Live. Welcome along. Myself, Dave Orton. Delighted to be back with you on a Saturday afternoon. Every Saturday in 2021. And we're going to have some interesting fillers for you as well. There's a whiff of jump racing in the air, isn't there? Autumn is around us. It's been such miserable weather over here. What's the weather been like in Dublin, Barry Orr?
It's been overcast. Is probably the best description I could give it. We've had plenty of rain as well, but overcast and muggy the last 3 or 4 days.
It's not going to be long until our winter friends come back out. Some massive Betfair sponsorship going on this winter as usual during the Betfair jumps game. Barry, is there any idea when we're going to get you over here?
I'll definitely be over for the Betfair Spring Cup in Haydock on the 4th of September, so that's probably my next trip.
There we go. That will be here before we know it then. And again, what a sprint division we are getting. Should we go back up to York? Because it is time for the junior Ebor, isn't it? Yeah. The Melrose.
The Keith Melrose.
He's named after the betting editor of the Racing Post, the quizmaster himself, Melrose. And of course, we know that he loves the long distance jump racing. I bet he's been all over this one. He's probably put one up in, isn't it?
I think he has, actually. I'm pretty sure I read there this morning that, I don't know if he's napped in it necessarily, but he's definitely put one up because I thought, well, it's a given. He's
been doing price-wise, hasn't he, while Tom Segala's been taking a sabbatical as well. Yeah. Tom, of course, back now. But, I think Keith sort of really does enjoy it.
Well, he put just another bottle up last week as well, so I think Tom, Tommy looking over his shoulder.
Every dog has his day, you know. Every dog has it. How did everyone fancy that horse? I don't get it. Anyway, there we are. All right. Just
High draw on, well, this is the high draw on front runners. If
I did watch the clip, actually. I watched the clip. You said at the start, didn't you, Ross? You said
blinkers.
Whatever. Oh, blinkers as well. It was all there, wasn't it?
It was just basically front runners won it. I wish the Melrose. I wish I could look at the Melrose and go, you know what? Every front runner had won this for the past 6 years because then we could make it easy.
And you know what will happen next year? We'll get there and we'll be like, right, let's wheel out that stat, and they'll all come from off the base. It's a funny old game, but the greatest game. And Barry Orr, we're looking at future cup horses here potentially. It's great to see these horses stretching out in distance. It's the purest race, it's the Melrose. Who wins?
Yeah, so the head of the market is Dushan at 7.2, 9 King of the Castle, and Barry's Son 10.5. It's 11 bar. There's been good money for Valley Forge. Andrew Balding's horse, first time in a handicap, was 25, is into 14.5 now. So he's a bit of a springer in the market, and it has to be said the market was quite mature and quite liquid as well at this stage. But the horse I thought would run well in this summer's night, it's a horse I've backed before on the show when it was really unconsidered on soft ground, when Takshan beat it up in Haydock Park. Was a massive drifter that day. Had been single figures around the 8-1 mark, drifted out to 16-1, but ran a very respectable race to be just beaten. The ground was the issue for him that day. I think the ground's going to be perfect for him, and the mile 6 is good from. Started off back in June, winning off 63. He's rated 88 now. So he's gone up 25 pounds, but he seems to be taking his racing really, really well. And he's a decent price as well. He's currently 15. So I'm going to back him in the win market. Happy to be a price taker at 15. We're going to have 25 quid in them in the win market. And there's as many as 7 places here on the Betfair Exchange. You have your standard place terms. You have 5, 6, or 7 places. So we're going to look at the 6 places here. I'm not going to go as far as 7. I'm not going to be that greedy. And at 6 places for summer's night, currently trading at around 238. No, I'm not going to go that either. I'm going to go 5 places, please, Ross. We're looking at 5-place market. And we'll make our own price here. We look to back it at around 15 to 8 or 2 to 1. We put in to back it at 2 to 1. So 3.0, we're looking to have 25 quid on in 5 places. So we'll leave that up there and hopefully someone will come in and match us before the race goes in play.
Summer's night then for Barry Orr. I remember that day when it was absolute bog-like up at Haydock. We got excited, Barry, that day. He's a traveller, which is a bit unusual for a Prescott horse. Prescott hasn't won this since 1994, but he's only had 3 runs in the last decade. 1 has hit the crossbar. This is kind of your horse, Barry, and have you been backing it since that Haydock run? Because it's 1-1-1.
Yeah, no, he wouldn't really be my sort of prices now. I think he was 6-5 the last day he won, and he was favoured. He was 11-10 chance the time before that, so they wouldn't be my sort of prices. But up in class, and still, you know, he's only rated 88, considering he started the season off such a lowly mark as 63, and he was running against older horses where he was getting the allowances as well, the 3-year-old allowance, which also helped him. But I think he's held his form really, really well, and the good ground is key for him. I think you'll see him running a big race here.
He's kind of holding his position in the market as well, isn't he? Okay. A lot of nodding going on, Dr. Battle. It's like we were studiously agreeing with Barry there. Ross Brierley, take it away.
I disagree entirely with Brian.
I just got my head directions wrong. Yeah,
I'm just a nodding dog. No, I think he's got it. I mean, the Haydock run was a huge surprise, wasn't it? Given his previous form on firm ground, and also given Sir Mark Prescott's tendency to win Bath handicaps on ridiculously fast ground and then soft ground and then bomb out. So I thought that was a real feather in his cap. I think he's got a cracking chance. His half brother Early Morning improved £25 from a mark, I think it was like 77 to 102. So there is, it is a family who can keep going and going. I think it's an absolutely cracking race. I think he's got the right draw at least. I don't want to be messing around too wide, even though they're going to come this near side. But I think in this kind of field, I'm worried about hold-up horses coming this near side and getting stuck behind. So I'm hoping that Marshall Plan. That's a big run.
A horse I know a little bit about. I put him up at Royal Ascot when he ran in the handicap there. And it was typical Royal Ascot handicap run, buffeted around a little bit, lapped the pace. Yeah. And he was running on again. I just wondered if he was showing his hand a bit.
I kind of know what you mean, but he's finished second to Mandub at Lingfield, hasn't he? Where he got in one of them. I don't know why you would, but if you ever want to see what
that was a crazy pace battle, wasn't it?
It was for a mile and a half race.
Yes.
I was watching
it as well, wasn't it?
It was insane. It was Frankie and James Doyle about 7 furlongs out, gunning for it, and I was thinking, what on earth are you
Catch
two
me if
doing?
you can, wasn't it? And Jim Crowley on Mandoob, the complete game considered outside of win. See you later, thank you very much.
Exactly. But what's Mandoob rated now? 104.
Good horse.
He is a good
the
horse.
Bahrain Trophy to your beer, wasn't he?
Now, like you said, the Ascot race, he just wasn't in a particularly good position at any point. But obviously, you look at that form. You go down the field. Nagano, First Light, Tashcan, just fine. Soapy Stevens, it is absolutely bomb-proof form. And last time out, he got massively tapped for toe at a crucial point, and he went past about 4 horses in a blink of an eye, and he finished third, and he probably should have won. And that run, I thought, 1.6 miles next time out, perfect. So I've had my eye on him basically. Since his debut behind Pollinday, I thought that was a lovely run as well. It was a good race. That
strong line on the staying 3-year-old form as well, haven't they? Obviously, Queen's Vase winner, Kamari and Yabir as well.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean,
the geldings.
Back a middle distance Godolphin horse, job done.
Yeah.
This season, isn't it?
All right. So we're hoping that it's a Godolphin double for Ross Brierley. We're hoping it's a York double on the debut show of Kate Tracey. Real world, over the line, never a moment's worry. Who's the double going to carry?
Yeah, hopefully after an even money favourite goes in, hopefully I can provide a little bit more value, which the Melrose is guaranteed to give you at least anyway. And I mean, it's such a likeable race, but it is as tricky a puzzle to solve, I find, for the entire season, because clearly with the trainers that cite this race, you don't want to overly expose your horse in the run-up to it with these 3-year-olds over 1.6 miles. So it's and their form won't necessarily tell you what you're looking for either. It's very much a visual thing you have to be searching for with these horses on how much you feel they have in hand from their previous run. So it is very speculative in that sense of the word, at least anyway. But I really do agree with Barry that I think that Summer's Night, I don't know if his win last time out was ideal. I don't think Smart Prescott expected him to go up £8 from that.
Someone else mentioned that to me yesterday. Good
yeah,
judge,
I'm not sure that was ideal because prior to that, if he had got into his mark of 80 that he ran off of last time out in this race, then he would be a very, very good thing for this race. I mean, as Barry said, he has to answer the class question here of stepping back up in class into a Class 2 handicap after he did cite that Class 2 handicap. Freak starts back, and we've just spoken about that at Haydock, where he did run a corker behind Tashcan, getting £8 from that rival, only getting the £2 this time around. But his progression has just continued, and you just don't know whether it's going to stop. He's sort of different for a Prescott horse because Smart Prescott, he doesn't have the best record in these types of handicaps for all that he is his
It's
staying
a bit
handicap.
weird how he's not one that says, isn't it, for example?
Yeah, exactly.
If you start all your handicappers off a mark of 50, then
Yeah,
you've got a long way to go, haven't you, to get into
a long way to go, and you
Just
pretty
they're
much
all
expose
tired
yourself.
by the time these big ones come around.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly it. But no, I really like Summer's Night. And Valley Forge was the lurker for me as well, because he is the unexposed handicapper over this trip. 4 starts the same, all of which come as a 3-year-old. Comes into this race on the back of that first career win last time out. It was a Foss Last Maiden, won in game style, but not necessarily the winning margin you expected from a 4-11 shot. But that trip just looked far short of his best over a mile.
That's got some form with Kamari and Novice Company, isn't it, that horse? Yeah.
He has got very good form the whole way down. Yeah.
OK, let's get some socials up. Tom Leach, we know you're a social interactive viewer out there, and you told us that Keith Melrose has put up Surrey Gold, by the way. We'll get that to him in a minute. But Paul Bakewell joins the show again. Paul, great to have you this Saturday afternoon. Moshawar was under a length behind Derby second Moho Star, so racing off 93 in a big field looks promising. Ross, a word on Moshawar.
Yeah, he's from the family of dual York winner Itlark for Mick Easterby. He beat Valley Forge when I thought Valley Forge had won a blinder behind Kamari. I thought this is each way bet of the day. Travelled all over him, and I thought, here we go. And then Moshawar outstayed him. So he's got a huge chance on that. And last time out, it was a small field. It was a muddle in pace. So he will relish this test. So I think he's got a huge chance. He's got to have a chance. Him and Valley Forge, obviously very little between those two. If you fancy one, you've got to fancy the other.
OK, so look, wide open race. Every chance, Paul, with that one. Very best to you out there. Roger Varian, Hamdan, usually a good solid firm there, aren't they? Just looking at Surrey Gold, let's have a word about this then. Mr. Melrose in his race has put up this chap. Ran all right, spread a plate last time at Ascot, didn't he?
Yeah, and if you watch the race back, it was the winner got first run on Dushan and a couple of the others in behind, and Surrey Gold was kind of trapped wide and actually coasted home quite nicely. Finished 8th of 9, but only beaten 3 lengths, and you got the feeling it just didn't have a race. Like you said, it spread a plate. Enough went wrong for it. I think Surrey Gold's got a chance. The other one I would mention at a big price, by the way, is Annandale as well, before these go in. for Mark Johnson and Jason Hart. Mark Johnson at York is normally
How long has he been on the go, Annandale?
He has been on the go for a while, yeah.
You want another run, man, it's like.
But he was, back in May, he was off a mark of 85, and Surrey Gold beat him when he was 7-4 favourite. He's here off 84, so he's been on the go for a while, but he's a pound lower than that run. And basically he wants a left-handed galloping track with a big field.
Yeah.
And he's not had that at all since he won at Nottingham.
Jason Hitman Hart in the saddle, and when he won the Acomb earlier in the week, he said that this guy has got a chance as well. Quite looking forward to running him. He's in stall 2. 4 of the last 5 have been single-figure draws. I'm hoping that none of you have mentioned the winner so far, and he has been well backed. I think Barry will back that up because it's going to take a bit more time to go in. And it's Imperial Sun, Barry, for Team Gosden on a quick double. I like this chap. He's half-brother to a Ledger winner.
Yeah, he's 14. He was a high of 14. He was into 10 at one stage. He's out to 12 now. Dushan, your favourite's very strong at the head of the market. King of the Castle is one you haven't mentioned. Aidan O'Brien, William Buick. Took him a while to get off the mark, but he did in Limerick last day. But his form ties in nicely with the Mediterranean. And obviously stepping up in trip like this should bring out the best in him. Whether a mark in 96 could be a little bit too much for him, but that remains to be seen. But yeah, Imperial Sun was good money for it earlier, but just on the slide again now, Dave.
Okay, that's interesting. He was just far superior to the opposition at Wolverhampton last time. Runner-up could have done a bit better for the form, but this is all going places, and he's bred to stay. I was worried about the Heavens opening. It hasn't happened. This is one of my strongest plays of the day under Rab Havlin. King of the Castle, Aidan O'Brien, 6 runners in this in the last decade. 3 have hit the crossbar, not quite gone in. Do you like this one, Kate? Or
and William Buick hasn't had a winner for Aidan O'Brien either, but he's hit the frame on many occasions as well. So hopefully 2 of these are going to be, well, not hopefully, actually, because I'm siding against them, won't be. You'll be keeping that at bay. But King of the Castle, when you look at his entries, he's entered in the St. Ledger, the Irish St. Ledger, he's entered in the Long Distance Cup. You feel that Aidan O'Brien may well have cited this race to try and take advantage of this mark as much as anything. He is just a proper stayer. He wants this trip. He really showed that last time out, even when winning and at Limerick. So I do think the trip's in his favour. His pedigree suggests that as well. He's clearly highly thought of. It's just the form, isn't it?
yeah, I started to think he was really frustrating. Cliff also me became. Of course, I wasn't on when he won last time. So if he wins this, frustration for Dave Orton.
It depends. If you take the Mediterranean run literally the other day, then actually he looks quite well handicapped being beaten 3 lengths by him.
Didn't they have the favourite once for the Ebor called Mediterranean, wasn't it? Every time the Mediterranean comes up, I'm sure it was a hot pot in the... Anyway, tell me, was that your favourite horse? We're going to get to that after the Melrose. OK, great. Great to have you back with us. We are cooking with gas, aren't we, here on RP Live? Keep your comments coming in. We'll have plenty of time to give you your shouts out there. Worry not. All right then, Ross Brierley, enjoy it. It's the Melrose.
I was just going to say, I thought you might hand over to me, which I'm quite looking forward to. I'm just trying to fit all the
left
runners.
it as late as possible, man, this time.
Yeah, I'm just trying to fit all the runners on one page. That's the main problem.
I find that a real difficulty when I'm doing it.
It is a difficulty. Right, they're off and they're running. And King of the Castle was slowly away. Moshow are also not particularly fast away. King of the Castle is...
he's out to 20s already, isn't he? No chance.
Not enjoying life at all. But in front is Annandale from Carna Clemaine, which is definitely not the way you would pronounce that. Parachute in behind those. We've also got Summer's Night that's settled into a nice position. The Godolphin Blue of Marshall Plan. Those looking for positions out wide include Golden Flame, who is crossing over. Dr. Parnassus as well. Oman is trying to get a decent posse as well as is Charging Thunder. But it is Annandale who has settled into a lead. Who would have guessed it? 2 Mark Johnson horses, first and second early on. In behind those, Imperial Sun's got a lovely position down that inside rail. Pulling for his head is True Courage. Dushan has got more behind than in front, but again, he's getting plenty of cover. And in behind those, Alpine Stroll, who's usually a mad front runner, can't get to the front today. So... it's a couple of them pulling for the head in behind, and they are all bunched up, so we could see a bit of carnage here. Any thoughts, any market moves?
Yeah, Barry, he spiked up, didn't he, King of the Castle, when he missed the break, but Buick's going round the outside. He's coming back in now.
Yeah, he's coming right in, and Buick could be leading in a couple of strides. He's getting a funny ride, Dave. He's 11.5 now, 6-2 Dushan. Valley Forge is into 9-8 at one stage. Imperial Sun steady at 10. And also the horse that I backed is steady away at 9.4.
He's cruising in. He's in pole position. Luke Morris, you'd have to say. Imperial Sun right behind him. Ross Brierley.
Yeah, King of the Castle still being rousted along, but he's come from last to fourth now, remarkably, and he's been scrubbed along from the word go.
Work to get there.
Dushan is down that inside rail. Imperial Sun there, the two catching the eye. Surrey Gold's also going pretty well. Valley Forge also travelling. Annandale, Marshall Plan in behind those
Valley
as well.
Forge is
Hatchcan.
cruising, Kate, isn't he?
They are
Yes.
spreading out all the way across this track here. Valley Forge,
Luke
absolutely.
on
But he
tour.
was on the
Whoa.
bridle at Doncaster as well, and he got
Whoa.
outstayed. So let's see if he gets home
Here
today.
comes Moshawar as well for Paul Bakewell.
They're all over the place. Valley Forge, Moshawar, Summer's Night. On the far side, Surrey Gold, Dushan as well is coming there very strongly,
Yeah.
but they are down this near side
Moshawar.
rail. Moshawar, Valley Forge, Dushan is eating
King
up
of
the
the
ground.
Castle not done with
Dushan
either.
has a huge chance down this near side as well. Ravenscraig Castle has a huge chance as well.
Ian
Dushan, Valley
Jardine.
Forge, Moshawar, Ravenscraig Castle. Tashcan rattling home from the back as well. Valley Forge, is he going to
Yeah,
outstay
think
the
so.
others? Dushan down that far side. Moshawar down the near side. Valley Forge still in front.
Valley's got
Oh,
Moshawar
he's
throwing down the
gritty.
challenge.
He's
It's
gritty.
another
There
win
you
for
go.
Andrew Balding, and Valley Forge beats Moshawar, Dushan, Ravenscraig Castle and Tashcan.
There you are, Kate Tracey. I think we can call that 2 from 2 at York, shall we?
You're being very kind.
That is an in off the crossbar, Hawkeye needed, but we think it has gone over the line for you.
Yep.
Oh my goodness gracious me, before we pick the bones out of that, what a race it was, Barry Orr. It must have been all over the place from 2 furlongs out.
Yeah, Dushan traded a low of 164, so 6 to 4 on for nearly 100 quid. What else was there? Mashawan traded at a low of 1.75 for small money. We also had King of the Castle. He hit a low of 8.2. Summer's Night hit a low of 3.65, 11 to 4. Can you believe? He didn't finish out his race at all this time round. But the winner, Betfair, hit a high at 24, had a Betfair SP of 11. So he was really well supported. But great win, great shout, Kate.
Yeah, great shout, Kate. Great shout, Paul
thank
Keeley
you.
in the Sizzlers as well. Really well fancy doors. We are hoping, myself and Ross Brierley, that Tribal Craft will do of course, the Melrose Ebor double. Talking of the Ebor, big news. Rain didn't come. Hamish. He's off to blow his bagpipes some other day.
Oh,
He
really?
is. He's talking about. Let's not go there again. He is. He is out. No more Hamish. So what that's going to do to the market? We'll let Barry react to that, of course. Dushan, I thought he was going to take it out at one point. Moshawar, poor Bakewell, you must have been screaming if he calmed down. Yeah, man, hopefully you're on each way. I'm sure you were. 5 have gone past pretty much together. What a run that is from Ian Jardine's horse. I tell you what, he's going to be some old jumper he is, because you know what Ian's like, he'll be desperately trying to convince the owners to go over timber with Ravenscraig Castle and Tashcan, who would be our benchmark for the form, guys, I think, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he is a very good yardstick to really use in this race.
Another one that might jump. That means jumping.
Oh, yeah. Dive.
Go swimming?
You might go
Could
to,
mean anything, couldn't it? That mean, in the racing post office, that means jump. Let me
Learning
tell you.
all of these new
There
things
you
today.
are. He looked at me like I was absolutely mad. Usually like the gallery do, but strong form.
Yes, very strong form, definitely so. And for Valley Forge, the fact that this was his handicap debut and the handicapper had left him alone on the back of that maiden win last time out, which you thought was interesting because I thought that he was going to go up. For all it was a hard-fought win, the fact that he beat the second horse there, who's since bolted up by 8 lengths, I thought that he might have had his mark adjusted in that time. But handicapper left him alone, looked on a good mark. He's tanked into this race, covered up nicely there in mid-division, took a lead, not far away. And he just caught the eye from a long way out. And so often at York, you don't want them to get racing too early. This can so often pay the price, but they haven't gone quick early on, as Ross said in commentary. Plenty pulling for their heads there. They were very well together in this race, and he still managed to side through the field. And I just thought that David Probert may have got there a bit too soon, but he's such a gutsy winner. He showed that last time out, and plenty more to come from him. So really, really likeable. Dushan again has run a solid race, shown again the record of William Haggis in this race coming down the rail. So yeah, has been very interesting how that's played out. But the strange runner was King of the Castle, just not his day at all. Nothing has gone right for him there whatsoever. I think William Buick had to take that chance on him, really, didn't he?
He's probably one that gets some tearing the hair out about, isn't he?
Yeah.
Cheap pieces, missed the break, got in there. In fact, we said about 2 finals that he still had a chance. My Imperial Sun cruised through the race like Valley Forge, but the moment that David Probert, I think, caught a lot of them napping by cruising in, the fact he's still seeing it out by cruising, Imperial Sun didn't get home. Summer Night, if I was right in this race, probably come a bit too soon for him, isn't it? I think so. Moshawar's come right for the back. Yeah, go on, Barry.
The draw, when you look at it, Dushan was drawn 10, but Masherwan drawn 17, Valley Forge drawn 16, and Ravenscraig drawn 14.
Helped by the fact that they've come, obviously, they've shunned that far side again. Just when you think you can read York, they go and do that to you, these tricky jockeys out there. So listen, who had that? Let us know. Did you follow in? I hope so. We've got to go to Sandown. There's a Betfair SP. You can see that. It's highlighted in yellow there. Isn't it great to have this real market on screen as it happens? So many of you we know with your 2 screens, all that sort of thing, enjoying it. Let us know where you're watching today. How are you watching? Are you on the phone? Are you at the tracks? Or indeed you just feet up? Happy days. Plenty of sport coming your way. It's a great time of year, isn't it? Barry Orr talks about the narrative of the flat season, of course. It's really building up now. I said there's a whiff of jumpers in the air. The autumn is coming. Last of the summer festivals, this. Can we say that? I know we've got St Ledger.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is the last big summer festival, isn't it?
Yes.
Even this doesn't feel like a summer festival, does it? It feels like the kind of the handing over of the baton.
It feels like a staycation.
Yeah, it's somewhere. It does. Yeah, we're not.
You would know now.
I now know.
You would know all about that now.
Yeah.
We're not in. We're not in Greece with the sun on our.
Mykonos or something like that. No, absolutely not. No. Okay. All right. That was the Melrose. The Melrose. Sorry, gold for Keith. Didn't really fire either. Did you see him running into 6th as well? So, but some tipsters at the Racing Post, they knew. What do they know about the Atalanta Stakes? You know what? Obscure races that you absolutely love in the calendar. And I think we can call a Group 3 obscure compared to Jumonte Nunthop this week. Of course, we've got an Ebor coming up, even a Melrose. But I love the Atalanta Stakes. I absolutely love it. I've probably had some winners over the years. Is that why I think it's one of my favourite races?
We're getting to the bottom of it.
I should say we're getting to favourite horses as well. Keep them coming in. Mine are obscure. I'm going to tell you that one. I hope yours are too. We'll give a line on each of them. What do we remember from it? I love it when we have to work after the Atalanta. I said it would be after the Melrose, but of course we are quick, aren't we? Of course here. What is going on in the Atalanta market, Barry Orr?
Yeah, Oisin Murphy Sorsurio has been the springer in the market, Dave. Matched at a high of 8.9 on the exchange, only for small money now, but all the way down to current price of trading 4.6. Indigo Girl is around that price as well, 4.3 now. Saffron Beach is 6, 10 Potapova, and it's 20 bar. Saffron Beach is the horse I like in it, the filly I like in it. Obviously, she was second in the Nail Gwynta Sacred. That's decent form. And she was second, or she ran well. She's only beaten a couple of lengths in the 1,000 guineas behind Earth Mother. Mother Earth, yeah.
There's a lot of names to remember in this game.
You're not the first person
Even
to get
Barry
it
Orr
confused.
can get it wrong from time to time.
Aidan O'Brien got her confused with Snowfall, so don't worry about it.
Oh, I like that, Kate. Even Aidan O'Brien confused that one up, Barry.
Well, I wouldn't make that bloomer. Not with Snowfall, anyway. But disappointed a little bit in the Falmouth. But I think that this will suit her. I think the track will suit her. And obviously, she's a 3-year-old filly. I think the 3-year-old fillies will hold sway here. And just at the price, she's swaying it for me. She's currently 6.2. So we're going to have 25 quid. Happy to be a price taker here. Actually, we'll set our own price. We'll set it 6.6 because she looks like she's on a bit of a slide now. So we'll look the back at 6.6. That will go into the leg column, the pink box, and someone should come in and match us there at 6.6 for 25 quid Saffron Beach.
Yes, Barry mentioned that the 3-year-olds he thinks will hold sway. Obviously, the majority of them are 3-year-olds here, but 7 of the last 10 have gone to the classic generation, and it's Saffron Beach from me as well. I'll start the sweep. I thought from stall 3, Holly Doyle on, love it. Forget the last run, comes back to her early season form. I wasn't sure about Indigo Girl, who I thought was sure to go off favourite here, guys. Very weak early. She's coming back in a little bit now, probably after Reach the Moon. Frankie factor, Gosden factor, isn't it, all the way? Claire Haven will be expecting a big run from her, but her 2-year-old form, absolutely no problems whatsoever with that. Filly's mile, of course, but I was underwhelmed and I thought she'd be favourite, so I went against her. I didn't see Aurea being favourite here. Andrew Balding on a quick fire double. 4 runners in this for the past 10 years for Mr. Balding, and 3 have hit the crossbar, so we'll be expecting to get one in the net here from stall 1. Will she get the run of the race last time? I don't think so. So Saffron Beach for me as well. Honest filly. Kate Tracey.
It's really tricky, this. I'm probably, Indigo Girl's probably the price I really want about her, because she has got her quirks. She has this high head carriage. She carries her head slightly across. We've seen her hang in the past previously, but there's no escaping the improvement the others have to find to be beating her on the form basis, at least anyway. That's earned her the mark of 112 from her brilliant 2-year-old form last season, winning those first 2 starts. And, I mean, it was disappointing that she wasn't able to win then last time out, where I really did fancy her in that reappearance start. She was obviously sent for the big price, but that was on the back of a 9-month break. We know that John Gosden's horses have been needing their reappearance starts this season. I mean, just look at Mishriff. So it may well just have needed that run. Betting will be telling here. So, yeah, it's... But I just will chance the fact that she needed that run. She has trained on. She's a 3-year-old, a positive, mark over 100, positive. Ideally, I wanted a low draw. A higher draw here, which she's got then in 8. So, yeah. So I don't think that will count against her either. So, no, I do really like her. I do think Saffron Beach has everything in her favour. I really do.
You
but
like this one, Kate Tracey?
Yeah, as a sneaky one, but not to just side me away from Indigo Girl. I'll give her another chance here that the quirkiness won't come into play, and she will prove that she has trained on.
I told you, for a Group 3, it's one of the best Group 3s out there anywhere each year. Are you agreeing with this, Ross Brierley?
Yeah, I kind of think it's a 2-horse race between the 2 we've mentioned.
Yeah.
I think Indigo Girl, it was fast ground at Ascot. And she just refused to settle. And actually, she ran quite well, given that she refused to settle.
It was a complete blow-up then. This is the acid test.
I think so, yeah. And she's got the 8 box. So you know what she's going to do. She's going to come there swinging wide, and she's going to have every chance. However, I do think if that 3 box isn't a negative, I think Saffron Beach has got a huge chance. She was, you look at that Guineas form. Mother Earth's drawn 2, Feather Over's 4, Santa Barbara's 1. Now, 9, 10 and 11 was Sacred, Alcohol-Free and Saffron Beach, and they were in their own group down this near side, and it was clearly unfavoured to be in that group. And, Alcohol-Free and Sacred have gone on and recorded fantastic performances since. So the fact that Saffron Beach finished ahead of both of them from that poor position...
It's just whether she was that 2-year-old into the 3-year-old. They call the classics, don't they, the last 2-year-old race of the new season. It's just whether she might have had a bit of that about her.
But then you look at the Falmouth last time out, and she went there completely opposite way. She was drawn 2.
Hotter form this season than the Falmouth.
I'd
like to see it.
Yeah.
It's up there, but the...
What do you mean it's up there? It's the bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm saying the 2 box, she had no chance again. She's not stayed in the Derby. She's been poorly drawn in the Guineas, but still finished second. Poorly drawn in the Falmouth. My concern is the same as Kate's, is that 3 box. Again, we saw in the first 2
What's
races.
Holly going to do? Do you think she might do a bit too much too soon?
That is the concern, because Saffron Beach isn't often that far away. So
how can Aurea possibly be this price? The handicapper says £13 off Indigo Girl on their joint favs.
it's just, bolding again, isn't it?
Run of the race. All right, they are in talking about the run of the race. I'll tell you what, I'll take Sandown, shall I? What have we got? Just the 11. I'm testing myself with this one, but it's my favourite race. It's the Atlanta Stakes, and who's going to take it up? Juicer goes to the back. Last year's winner, Mamora. They are, once again, they don't want to know that rail this season at Sandown, and Mamora comes across a little bit, but they're all off it at this point. Potapova, what a fascinating horse she is. Absolutely nothing went right at Royal Ascot for her. Could she bounce back? High regard she is held easy in the market. Aurea not going to get the run of the race under Oisin Murphy this time. Pulling out wide, one of the rags, that's Rosemary in Time. Illy Carto, another rag in midfield at the moment. Looking for Saffron Beach then, guys, on the inside, going round this famous sweeping bend.
Yeah, she's got a nice position in terms of where, because it's not a mad gallop, and she's got a nice position where she can challenge. Potapova's got the perfect position there. Pat Dobbs is in an absolute dream spot there. Yeah. He's wide on the outside. He's going to get first bite of the cherry, and he's not having to take the front 2-1.
Indigo. What about Indigo? Yes, Indigo Girl. Come on.
Where's Frankie going from box 8? Where's he going?
Yeah, she wears a hood, obviously, and wanted to put her to sleep. But
switch up the inside, is he?
What do you think then, Kate? Where are we going? Here comes Saffron, around about 2 furlongs out.
Yep, no, she'll keep fighting for pressure there, as we know. But it's Indigo Girl, she's...
Here she comes. Saffron Beach, surely.
She's not going to come back to them there.
She's won this, surely. Indigo Girl's the only danger.
Going low, look, on the exchange, we can see it.
Plateauing, isn't she?
Beach is absolutely bolted up.
Yeah, coming from off the pace here has been very difficult. Saffron Beach, then it's that Falmouth form.
Come on, Holly.
It's absolutely sitting in here. Barry's enjoying this one as well. Come on, Holly, get it up. It's the Holly factor. Absolutely lovely. Not a doubt. She's a really honest filly, this. Ground
she's
it out.
so likeable.
Waliak, who's come back to form recently in second, gives it a bit of substance. And Villa de Grace, a real big run from her. Michael Stout, not the Stout horse we might have thought, but Richard King's going on getting third. Disappointments everywhere in that race, Barry Orr. But when did the market know that Saffron was going to cook?
Yeah, picked it up, well, about 2 furlongs out, she began to trade short, and she was trees on them within a couple of strides. But interesting, Aurea traded at a low of 268 for 189 quid. They must have been watching the same race as me. Indigo Girl didn't really trade that short, 3.44. Strange one, but Potapova, that trade at a low of 3.1, can you believe? And what was that in the grid? That was Aurea. Yeah, not massive in running news there, Dave, to be perfectly honest with you, because when the race was all over, horses were running on from the back. But she's got a good ride off, Holly. And yeah, she's delighted for the yard, for Jane Chatham Hind, that she's beginning to show a bit of the promise that she had early season.
Yeah, you'd imagine.
Begin to fulfil a bit of the promise. Sorry.
You'd think they'd keep her in training, Barry, coming from Jane's yard as well, wouldn't you? She could do really well as a 4-year-old who'd prosper.
That'd be great to see. I don't know. I obviously, like, the people involved in her might want her for breeding, but that's a good one on her CV now, Group 3.
There is a Wigan. There are a couple of Sangsters involved, so he might well be right.
But the Sun Chariot surely is a cracking race.
This filly's division, which sometimes can be a bit underwhelming, can't it? 1 or 2 go up against each other. We're about to see in the next race at York as well at 3 o'clock. That very well advertised as well. Falmouth Primo Baccio comes up. Holly Doyle. This is just, you just know, don't you? You just know she's going to be in the right place.
Yeah. She'll negotiate.
Yeah, because we were worried, weren't we, a little bit box 3, but then suddenly you saw her and Potapova. They were the two who had the perfect positions. Now Potapova's actually run a really good race, but has been outclassed by a genuine. Well, she's a Group 1 filly. She's placed in the Guineas, for God's sake. Yeah. She is a Group 1 filly. So the fact that Potapova's finished 4th in the end is a feather in her cap. But you get the feeling that the instructions must have been, look, settle in behind there and then kick, because they've not got anywhere near her.
No.
It's easy to think about eye catchers in this, and we can get a little bit caught up to it. But that's third there, Villa de Grace. Hadn't been seen since chasing home, obviously, Primo Baccio, all the way back to the Dante meeting in May. And she has stormed home, hasn't she? Bit of a red herring, or is that one for next time?
I think, as Barry said, the fact that the race was won by that point, and then if you have run on late enough, I do think that from form in behind, you may have to take that with a pinch of salt. That was my initial impression, at least, anyway.
You make a good analyst, Kate Tracey, let me tell you. That's what you're supposed to do. Pour cold water on it, like me getting excited.
Just shut it down.
Absolutely. And if there is no cold water left, then you can say it's a classy performance. But very interesting. All right, so maybe I've seen one there. What do you think? Let us know. Any eye catchers of the day? What should have won the Melrose? What should have won the earlier races? Have we seen any hard luck stories? Who's the performance of the day so far? And let's hear your favourite horses. We're very close to building them up. In fact, is now a good time to do it. Let's get some socials onto the screen. Who's the viewer interaction? Aha! Neil Francis comes back as his favourite horse, Nashwan. Now, am I thinking that I'm a bit too young for Nashwan?
I guess we're all, how old is Neil
Let's
Francis?
talk about Nashwan then. Late Sheikh Hamdan Al Maktoum, John Dunlop, wasn't it? Of course, Willie Carson, I remember from Nashwan. I was always getting into racing. Barry, help me out with Nashwan.
Nashwan, no, he's a little bit before my time. Willie Carson, it was a Shadwell horse.
Yeah.
Hamdan.
Yeah. How old is Neil Francis? That's the question.
Well, I thought it'd be
have you been cryogenically frozen, Neil?
For Ireland, is he?
I'd age on to the end of these emails in, please, just out of interest.
Oh, there we go. Absolutely. Yeah, okay. Yes, absolutely.
He
Birthdays
won the
next year.
1989 Derby.
He was a serious horse. When he first came into racing, if you like me and Barry, probably 90s, sort of noughties, early noughties, Nashwan was a legendary name, like Dancing Brave or that sort of thing. Neil,
I was when Nashwan was winning the Derby. I think I was more concerned with computer games and footballs, tiny footballs. So I was 5 years old. So it wasn't really.
So a myth of horse, but a big name there. Carol Ann, 1971. Oh, here we go. My favourite horse. You're in good company. Cassini producer Rob Lee likes this as well. Many Clouds, of course, the national horse. One of my least favourite horses of all time, from a punting perspective.
I was going to say,
that would have been controversial, wouldn't it? Because of course, we know he carried his shield out, didn't he? Of course, in that Argento chase all those Januaries ago. One of the saddest days on a racetrack. But now this is where I'm going to bring you in, Kate Tracey, because it may be a little known fact or not, but Kate currently works in racing. She doesn't just do the broadcasting. You actually get your hands dirty still. Currently at Tom George's yard.
Yes.
And we had a sad story recently, didn't we, about St. R, who, of course, passed. It seems to be a lot of horses falling by the wayside, sadly, doesn't it? We heard that Saki, of course, died earlier today. That broke. We've had Master Craftsman recently as well, Galileo gone as well. Poor old St. R. How he didn't win that national when he was second to Many Clouds. I was all over St. R. I was Paddy Brennan looking round. Oh, it's Leighton Aspel next week. Leighton thinks that Many Clouds is over the top. Off I go. Second to Many Clouds. He said that thing about him, Many Clouds, didn't he? He was an absolute braveheart.
Oh, he was. I know it's been touted how many times in racing, but he was probably, if you had to ask your sort of broader public then, who do you think the most genuine horse was in racing, sort of, or jumps racing at least of all time? And I'd say Many Clouds will come out on top straight away to the forefront of people's minds. And he just was. And the fact that he lost his life at Cheltenham that day was, it was one of the saddest days I can ever remember in my racing life. But he again, it just was a true reflection, that win of that horse and everything that he had then been through his
Hemmings
whole
and the
year.
national.
Yeah.
And the first national winner for a long time to win after winning the national as well, wasn't he?
Yes.
Yeah, OK. Rob Lee. So why Many Clouds, Rob Lee? Tell me that. Dan Walsh, who's with us today, Lord Glitters as well, second in our first race. He must have just picked himself up off the floor then. Saturn's Raindrops, this is a new name to me. Moscow Flyer, here we go. Was at Cheltenham. I had an extra large bet on him and Best Mate. Amazing for the career that Best Mate had, how he's not one of the most popular horses in training. I'm with you, Best Mate would be one of mine. I also backed Spirit Leader that day. The best ever. Do you remember Spirit Leader, Barry? Jesse Harrington, County Hurdle winner.
I certainly do, yeah. It was the white and the black silks, wasn't it? The guy who runs the theatres in London.
Yes. Oh, God, he's really taxing me now. Yeah, OK, so Spirit Leader as well.
He has a couple of horses with Jesse.
Yeah. So two Jesse there, of course, Moscow as well. Were you World Chief, were you Azertiup, or were you Moscow?
Ooh.
That was the three, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the original.
I was always Azertiup.
Yes, no, I was
horse.
Azertiup. Yep, Courtiup, sorry.
Were we pronouncing it wrong the whole time?
No, it's a French typewriter.
The
top line of the French, but we've got Courtiup, which was always a name I wanted to reserve if I ever had.
When you were a journalist, Azertiup was one of the most annoying horses to write, and then you got told about the French typewriter. You're like, this is the easiest all of a sudden.
You could have had Courtiup and Poyatru, because half brothers, couldn't you, if you ever get those two?
See, that's what I thought. If I ever have enough money to then buy my own racehorse outright, then I wanted to reserve it, but I'm sure someone's probably done it. But the other way around, that's...
Yeah.
Moscow, again, punting-wise, like See the Stars. I was on Seabold when he won the Arkle, second. I was on World Chief a lot, often second, and Azertiup. So I totally admired him, and think obviously probably one of the best champion chasers we've ever seen from a punting point of view.
Yeah.
Fiendish Moscow Flyer.
Yeah, it is. Those divisions are always tough, isn't it? When you get the same horses running against each other, it can be quite difficult.
Well, it's great to get these in, and what we've got here, Save 991 in Zagi. So Filippo comes on and says, I have a soft spot for Wimpole Hall. Oh, yes, of course, Michael Bell's Globetrotter, wasn't it, Wimpole Hall? Is he still running Wimpole Hall? Is he?
No, I don't think. No.
There is a Wimpole Hall, isn't it? With Jarvis, isn't there? Am I completely
Yeah.
OK, last to first in the John Smith's Cup under an uber cool ride under a conditional jockey. Right, now this is what I like about this. We have to work a little bit, Ross. Who rode Wimpole Hall? And is he still running? I don't think he is. He went. Did he go and win a Canadian International as well, that horse?
We're getting this. Wimpole Hall is the William Jarvis horse, but I know what the Bell horse in the pink silks.
That's the one we're thinking of, right? That's the John Smith's Cup winner. Who rode him that day? Because I bet he's now a famous jockey, probably, isn't he? These young conditionals that win John Smith's Cups tend to go on to be premier jockeys, I would imagine.
Well, I don't know what his name is because it's not Wimpole Hall.
No, that's it. Yeah.
So Wimpole Hall is the Jarvis horse.
No, but how Freudian is it that I managed to do that slip as well then?
Yeah, no, but that's because that's who he means, but I can't. I'm trying to remember the horse. I know.
Go to John Smith's Cup and
Wigmore Hall.
Wigmore Hall.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Martin Lane rode him.
Inzaghi. It was it?
Yeah.
There's a name.
There you go.
All right. Okay. So So I'm sure that Wimpole Hall ran the other night at Kempton.
I was thinking.
I'm pretty sure I backed
in the purple, the orange and green.
Wigmore Hall for Michael Bell. Yeah. Okay. So York, good memory there.
Yeah.
Favourite horse, Ross Brierley?
Reverence. Reverence, Nunthorpe winner.
In the Middlebrook colours.
Middlebrook colours. I got a real soft spot for him because I first started doing speed figures and stuff, and he was the first one where we got excited about him, and then he was a proper soft ground horse, and everyone, he's no good, he's no good. But that's what I was saying earlier about the back end form is those soft ground horses, they need their day as well. So I thought he was an absolute cracker.
There we go. Wasn't that lovely? Keep them coming in. We've got time between the penultimate race. In fact, it is this 3 o'clock coming up at York, the City of what was it called? City of York Stakes, of course, isn't it? Another Group 2. This is a Group 1 in all but name. This is a decent Group 2. I think we'll get them in between this and the Ebor. Keep them coming in. I'll reveal mine as well. All right then, Barry Orr, Space Blues. What price?
He's on a bit of a slide. He's at 2.6 now. He has been a lot shorter than that, so heading towards 13.8. 4-2 Prima Bacio, 12.5 Glorious Journey, 13 Sir Busker, and it's 8 Highfield Princess, 12.5, and it's 18 bar. This is a race. When I thought the rain was going to come, I reassessed what I was looking to do in it, because initially when I thought it was going to rain, Highfield Princess was going to be my bet in the race, and I was going to lay her back in running because I think she'd go off and set decent fractions. But with the ground being good, I'm going to go Primo Bacio, and we're going to have 50 quid win on her at 4.1. Obviously, she won the Fillies race there over a mile, the listed race, when she beat Creative Flair. She ran well in the Falmouth. Obviously, that's turning out to be a cracking form. And in the Prix de Rothschild in Deauville, the ground was gone for her, but they had to run her because she was there. Didn't knock her around. It's good ground today. Back to 7 furlongs. Could be a little concern, but she has a serious turn of foot, this filly, and she's getting the £8 from the older horses. So I like that angle as well. So 50 quid win on her at around a 4.2. Happy to be a price taker. She's been really strong in the market. She was 5.1 just a couple of minutes ago, so she's come in a tick already. But Primo Bacio for me.
Now, I have a feeling, Barry Orr, as people react to that trade, that they might get a bit more confident, because should we just get this out of the way? Is this an unashamed Primo Bacio panel?
Feels like it, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And the spotlight, Dan Walsh is reminding me there.
I mean, she's got to beat.
Concepts.
Remember, she's got to beat a very good horse here.
Yes.
But we've just said. I mean, the form's just been given a boost by Saffron Beach, hasn't it?
Very
So,
timely.
not a bad time to get that boosted. But yeah, York horse. I know what Barry's saying about the drop back in trip. That is a concern. Hopefully, they will go a gallop here, because there should be Highfield Princess should be up there. Safe Voyage, Pogo, Lord of the Lodge. In theory, this is going to be run at a right gallop, and
It's exactly what she wants, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yep.
But so does Space
Also Space
Blues.
Blues.
Yeah, exactly.
Only issue.
They both need a gallop, so it's going to be a right old ding dong battle. I think
We've got a jockey change, haven't we? Of course, Tom Marquand has ridden. He knows all about these colours, of course, Starman, etc. For Ed Walker, who's having some year, isn't he? And he's on. Andrea Azzini, of course, was aboard when they came from last to first, didn't they, at the Dante meeting? I was on that day, Prima Bacio, because we picked up the. What was the Fred Darling, wasn't it?
Yeah.
What an eye catcher she was in that.
Well, don't tell that to Keels. Keels is.
I've done nothing but tell that to Keels. Keels has got a Dave Orton Prima Bacio tattoo on his back.
He hasn't recovered.
I'm not letting him off
Just
that
out of
one.
interest, what price did you get?
I think it was about, I don't know, it was double digits. It was double digits. And I thought to myself, is this going on? Is this going to win? And like this, and she was absolute. Of course, Snow Lantern was the one to beat in that. She was too keen in that, of course. But as Barry alludes to, that Falmouth form, we've said it early on the show as well. We've just seen it advertised there as well. The third behind her that day, the third behind Saffron Beach was also behind Primo Bacio at York when she won. So it's Primo Bacio back to York, isn't it? I can see this just going well. There's just pesky Space Blues, isn't it, in the way?
It's just that Group 1 horse.
World-class Space Blues in the way. Yeah. Does anyone like Space Blues out there? Let us know. You've got time. Well, in fact, you probably don't, actually. I think we are. I didn't realise we were so close to the race.
I mean, we're talking up Space Blues, of course, but on official ratings, he's 117, Primo Bacio's 112, and obviously there's £7 between them because of the age. So in theory, it's not that much to make up.
Do they want to know anything in the market bar these two, Barry?
No, they don't. The big drifters are the likes of Safe Voyage, Pogo. They seem to be on a big slide. Primo Bacio 4.8, 2.7 now the favourite, a little bit weak at that. Glorious Journey, there's money for that. Out of the top two in the market, that's the strong one at 9.8 now.
Yeah, we'll just mention Glorious Journey because we've got
Highfield.
We've got loads of York horses, haven't we? But Glorious Journey isn't one, but he's a proper 7 furlong group horse.
She's had some season, I feel, Princess, Barry mentioned there. Yeah, absolutely, for the Queen.
Yeah, there's money for her, and she'll be up with it. She'll set decent fractions.
Yeah.
I just thought the ground, she might just want to get her toe in a little bit more.
She certainly did at Royal Ascot when she won, didn't she? Then she won a one, back that up at Kempton. It was a big run last time as well.
Goodwood, she ran well, trying to make up.
That's right.
The bias
She
and
just did
listed
too
race at
much.
Chelmsford. She's so likeable. She really is. But as you say, I don't think the rain's quite come for
So
her.
Busco looked like he was coming in, but the rain probably hasn't come for him, has it? Pogo's horse that they still think has got something in. Safe Voyage is be the one that will be the egg on the face horse here. Nothing went right for him in the Lennox. He was trapped wide. He was too keen.
Anticipated the start.
I put him up that day, and I knew after a furlong I was cooked. Yeah.
But again, rain, Safe Voyage hasn't come.
He's obviously he's another proper 7 furlong horse. That's the thing with a lot of these.
7 furlongs, Haydock, he was unbeatable for a while, wasn't he? Yeah, literally.
He wants probably soft ground 7 furlongs. He's a top class horse, but he is getting, long in the tooth now.
Darren Walker's all over Space Blues here. They are filtering through to me. The guys in the gallery. Darren Walker, better the meeting I'm hearing as well. 5-1 anti-post. Fingers crossed for you then, my man. We will be giving that a mighty shout. Hopefully for the Godolphin double is Darren Walker out there. Great stuff. Look, 5-1 about that's a ridiculous price, isn't it? It's one of those where you just, I guess, are a massive fan of a horse and you see the market come out. Otherwise, most of us, I said to Keels yesterday when I was with him in the office, this will be a 10 minutes before the race for me. I want to see the ground. I put Primo Baccio up yesterday in the feature.
It's not rained a drop, has it, since we came on?
It's all right. It's everything's right, but it's hardening up all the time. Space Blues, Barry, to my eye.
Space with 266, Dave. It had been into 6-4, 13-8 now, so they're just finding their feet, finding its level. 4-6 Primo Baccio, 10-5 Glorious Journey, 10 Highfield Princess. They're the two that are backing against the top of the market, Highfield Princess and Glorious Journey. But the favourite's steady at around 266.
It's got to be with him on the exchange then, guys, because on track it's collapsing. So this is one of these strong occasions on a Saturday where the exchange is the place to be again.
What's a lot shorter than I was expecting is 5,000 to 1. It was a 50 to 1 shot last night, and is now 30s on the exchange. So
34 this morning, yeah.
Talented horse, hasn't put it all in. Good looking horse. They thought last year he'd be one of their better 2-year-olds, but it's off to Ross Brierley because it's the City York Stakes.
Off they go then for this 7 furlong Group 2. Of course, this used to be a listed race, and it might well be a Group 1 if it carries on at this rate. But out in the lead, where's the pace going to come from? On paper, there's a lot of it, and Lord of the Lodge, 5,000 to 1, Highfield Princess, Pogo, and Safe Voyage all want to get on with things. So this is setting up for the closers in theory, but they're having a bit of a difference in opinion. I don't know if Lord of the Lodge is hanging and taking 5,000 to 1.
There's 3 of them out wide, as you
Anyways,
probably heard Barry say. Pogo's one of them. 5,000 to 1. They're going straight for this stand side.
They are indeed, and they're spreading out all over the place. Lord of the Lodge then 5,000 to 1. This looks like a Breeders' Cup race rather than a York race. They're all over the shop. Out the back is Sir Busker, Primo Baccio, Space Blues, and Glorious Journey's got a lovely sit.
I think she's going better than the Fav,
But where are they going to come from?
Hang on a minute.
All of a sudden.
One's got a clear run.
Space Blues is back on the bridle and is travelling all over. Highfield Princess 5,000 to 1, but Space Blues, if he finds what he promises,
Darren Walker's eye-eyeing.
he's won this, that's for sure. He is all over Glorious Journey.
Look at
Highfield Princess, Primo Baccio struggling to make ground up from the back, and I think that's been accepted. Space Blues, Highfield Princess, Glorious Journey. Sir Busker's not entirely out of this with a furlong to go. Space Blues hasn't put it to bed yet. Glorious Journey, Sir Busker and Highfield Princess battling for the places, but Space Blues is a Group 1 horse on his day, and today was his day. Goodwood has brought him on. He beats Highfield Princess, who runs a blinder, and Glorious Journey in third.
The stars are shining then. It's been a galactic afternoon for Godolphin so far. Real World in our 150, our first. And it's easy. It's Space Blues, isn't it, for a lot of you out there? Darren Walker, as I mentioned, bet of the weekend. Go and celebrate, man. And let us know exactly where you're going to be, because that is an absolute cheer. Did you have a moment's worry? I very much doubt it. Primo Baccio, let's just get this out of the way. She found nothing, did she?
No.
Weird run that. They'll be gutted
She
with
was
that.
taken off her feet very early. I think she was taken out of her comfort zone very early. They went very fast.
And then came back on the bridle.
Got back in
and then
trip,
found
then not
herself,
ideal.
And then, and lost it again. But
Head scratcher. Should we celebrate this winner? Because I remember at Glorious Goodwood, Roscoe, when we were in together that week, you were saying 7 furlongs around the bend. It was just a ground that day, wasn't it, the Lennox?
I mean, I thought he was sort of 2 to 194 that day, and I thought, why on earth is this horse that price? And then I've opposed him today, so it goes. But it was soft ground. He was held up last, and he still travelled, but he didn't quite get there. He's actually gone for him earlier than he did at Goodwood. He went, a furlong and a half out, and I wonder whether that was a a concerted effort to say, look, last time out at Goodwood, a couple of them quickened at the last minute, and we didn't quite get the rub of the green. But yeah, he was the class act of the contest. He's gone past nearly every runner, and he's shown his genuine true self there. And they will go Longchamp, I imagine, for the foray.
For the foray.
Yeah.
It's the only 7 furlong Group 1 in Europe, I think, isn't it?
Why don't
we have one?
I know. I've been saying this for years. Why?
Bizarre.
Is there a reason it just doesn't fit into the calendar? Because you've got the horses to do so.
Could this be it? It's this or Lennox, isn't it?
Yeah.
But this
will be a Group 1 before long, though, won't it?
But it's like I said, this was a listed race.
Well, Glorious Journey in second. Highfield Princess, who Barry said there was money for. She was is a name and more consistent performer this summer than her. And you were showing your horseman's side there because you were going, oh, look at Highfield Princess and Glorious Journey. 2 triers that just come up against a Group 1 horse and they're going to have a second or third next to their name, but always seemingly run their races.
Highfield Princess, she's just been one of my absolute favourite. We talked about favourite horses there earlier on, and this season she has just, I love her. And she's so genuine. And when she won, actually, on her penultimate start at Chelmsford, and she managed to win that despite the bias through sheer grit and determination. And the way that she pulled it out, I just thought, you've cemented yourself in my upper echelons of favourite horses with attitude.
Love that. Absolutely. Very convincing case. Yeah, quite right. All right, and the Quins have got another one there that hopefully will keep going through. But that was all about Space Blues. It was impressive, wasn't it? Anyone else like Darren Walker eyeing at the moment about that a week like us with Primo Baccio? But there you can see the market coming up. Well, hasn't it flown this afternoon, boys and girls?
Yes.
Hasn't it? Well, time flies when you're having...
The problem is that you've said that as we've got a half-hour gap now between the next two, so you could have preempted.
I know, we've blown all the favourite horses. What are we going to do? Absolutely. Yeah, OK, actually, I'm getting a message from the gallery now. What do we got? Yeah, OK, yes. Yeah, it was Darren Walker, wasn't it? Dave Lowe. On Twitter, I'm hearing the owner of Catchy is saying his favourite horse, of course, is Catchy. Dave Lowe, great to have you watching, Dave. Dave has got, of course, the famous blue colours. We see his horses out running their odds all the time. He might not like me saying that, but they always go for big prize. I love, his horses in the winter. You always get a good bit of Catchy. Should we talk about Catchy for a minute?
Yes.
Sure.
Does anyone not like Catchy?
He always feels horse around, isn't it?
Do you remember when he went to Chester a couple of years ago? Dave will be saying the minute and the hour and the day and the month. He went off, I think it was probably odds on. He was right in I think if it hadn't been for the gate, he would have been 3 or 4s on. And he absolutely blew them away. And that was the start of the Catchy Me If You Can. And at Lingfield, you mentioned it and all that sort of thing, that winter, where he just held all. I would even go as far to say that because of Catchy, the All-Weather Championships was made as popular as it was.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think he was sort of the flag bearer, really, for it, wasn't he? In the fact that you had sort of almost a storyline or a character to follow then into the All-Weather Championships. And he did provide you that, and he had
Temple Stakes. Was it Batashi gave a right fright to, didn't he? Yeah, a serious animal for Daskerman.
Yeah, and I mean, you also forget he was third in the Diamond Jubilee as well, wasn't he? Behind Blue Point and Dream of Dreams, which he gets marked down. I say marked down, but he is an all-weather horse because all his best performances came on there. But that third at Royal Ascot was an absolute blinder, and second in the Commonwealth Cup as well. He was he's a horse you. God, you wish you just want to catch one Catchy. Yeah. Just one of those horses in your lifetime. If you're going to be a racehorse,
Dave will be looking for the next Catchy. Yeah, he loves the all-weather season, and he's a popular guy there. Dave, great to have you there, and that came via Twitter. Thanks to Jack Reeve, who's in charge of our social team today. Jack Reeve is a Norwich fan. They've only got Man City this weekend as well, so this will be the highlight of his weekend, no doubt. Although they did give him a fright last time they played him. The football season's back on. It's all in full swing. We've got the Ryder Cup coming up, Breeders' Cup coming up, all that sort of stuff. What's the best race coming up so far this season as well that's got left? Is it all about the Arc?
That's what everyone's looking forward to, and that's what everyone's talking about, and I think so. I think that's if obviously there's plenty enough races on the way, but the Arc is the race that everyone is citing. So yeah, I definitely think so. And I mean, on the back of this week, Barry, if you're still there, kind of what sort of market changes, if any, have we had? I guess.
Oh yes, Snowfall.
Yeah.
In the Arc, Snowfall went into favourite off the back of her win in the Yorkshire Oaks. She's 9-4 now. She's really strong. They are 7-2. It was 7-2 each of two before the Yorkshire Oaks. So she went into 5-2, and now she's 9-4. Tanara, Dermot Wells filly is 5. Hurricane Lane 7. St Mark's Basilica is 10. Won't run. Mishriff won't run. He's a 12-1 chance. 12 Wonderful tonight. She was unchanged off the back of that run. She's still a player in the race. Love was the big drifter, 8-20.
What price Wonderful tonight was she, Barry?
12.
See, we need to remember, everyone gets, the Ark's going to be a fantastic race, it's going to be a fantastic race. And then it's heavy ground and
they don't turn up.
They don't turn up.
Yeah.
But Wonderful tonight, I think 12 to 1. 12 to 1 versus Snowfall 5
I'm
to 2.
surprised she ran this week. Let's let's forget about any comments pre and post. Were you just surprised to see her running?
Well, apparently she had to run because she is a headstrong, fresh type of horse.
Conditioning, yeah.
And she has to run or else she boils over the top. I mean, we saw that at Goodwood, how keen she was early on and the fact she was so fresh. And so she actually has to be run. And I do think that was touted beforehand, at least anyway. And she just has to get out. So I wasn't surprised, for all that we know, that it was never going to suit her condition-wise.
And it's Mr. Manuzier's motto, isn't it? To get the MO, to get them out. And his comments before, David, were fantastic in that he said, don't care who's running, I need to run my filly. And after the race, of course, he said, she just couldn't quicken on ground like that, which probably was bordering on goods firm, wasn't it?
Yes.
Absolutely.
So they go on it once, Wonderful tonight. We know she can travel. She's won an Art weekend. She stays.
But take her home.
She'd still be my idea of one of the players, without a question.
But you're playing, we said about today, you're playing York horses at York. You're playing soft ground horses for the Arc. You can't.
Do you want to see her come out then before the Arc and get that one next to her name again?
I don't think that's...
What horses win an Arc with a 4 and a 5 and a 6 next to their name? That would be my question off the top of my head.
A 4 and a 5 and a... Well, she's only got...
Form figures. Do you not need to come in? Here he goes. He's off. It's not quite a Rodway theory, that, but it usually goes to a horse that finishes in the top 3 on the last start, doesn't it?
I mean, again, I'm going to have to... Well, let's have a look.
Yeah, so will we see her out again? There was Art Weekend, of course. We've got the Vermeil and things like that beforehand. Okay, very interesting. Barry, there was a lot said about that 9 to 4 and Snowfall. What has she actually beaten? And all they need to do is win these horses and they get trimmed, don't they? But visually, you get the feeling that she's still not quite the finished article somehow.
Like, she's done it on contrasting grounds, Dave. I think that's the key with her. And obviously, she won at the Dante meeting. Very impressive. She went on and absolutely slooshed up on soft ground in Epsom. And then she went to the Curragh and backed that up on decent ground. And she's won on what's basically firm ground the other day in York. So the ground's not an issue for her, where Wonderful tonight, she's very ground dependent. Like, if the ground came up good, which is probably unlikely, it odds against. But if it does, we do get good ground arcs. She's going to be maybe 16 to 1 chance. I just think 3-year-old fillies have such a great recent record in the race. She's going to be trained to the minute for it. And she will go off favoured if she lines up, no matter what else is in the field, no matter what else happens in the trials that you alluded to there earlier. So, she's got everything in her favour. She's going to be very hard to beat in the race. Adayar is probably the other horse that you would fancy most against her. I
think that's interesting, Barry, isn't it? Because one's won, and if anything, Adayar's film has been boosted while he's been in the stable. One's now become shorter. If you haven't backed Adayar yet and you think it's between the two, there's only one pick, isn't there?
Yeah, you wouldn't. I would caution anyone having a bet in this market now, at the top of the market anyway, because they're going to be that on the day, Adayar and Snowfall. They're not going to get much shorter than that, I wouldn't imagine, because obviously the French are going to have a say in this as well. We get very sort of, in our own little bubble, UK and Ireland, when it comes to the Arc, we can only see our horses winning.
Patriotic was the word, yeah.
Patriotic was the word I was searching for. Another brain fart from me, Dave. One horse that I thought at 33 to 1 could go well, and it was a Lacker, the horse that won the other day, Alenker, that won the other day. Yeah, he's going to go for it. He doesn't mind a bit of giving the ground, and he could run well at a big price at 33 to 1, but I thought Snowfall should go off favourite, but you'd be mad to have a bet in the race now at the head of the market.
There you go. That's what you've been told then by the big hitter from Betfair. Don't play at the top of the market. It doesn't make much sense. I suppose it all depends whether Adayar runs again, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, but it's just this.
Hurricane Lane going St Leger, is that almost certain, isn't it?
I think that was said afterwards. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
The last time a horse finished 4th and won the Arc was last year.
Great.
Straight back across the table.
I've been on form today, haven't I? You can tell that. Sostas is cool. Yeah, all right.
Finished 4th in the...
There's another fart going on. All right. Fair enough. We're all doing it today, apart from our esteemed panellists. All right, yes, okay. So it can happen. Nothing at all. Don't run her again then, David. Let's just get her straight to the Art now. Let's hope the heavens open. Who's your idea of the Art winner? Let us know. Well, we've got until the Ebor coming up. It's 3:35. We've got 20 minutes. Shall we get some business done then for the final time today? Barry Barry Orr, where on earth are we going in this? This couldn't be another one for your man, Willie, could it?
Yeah, it's a big springer in the market. Into 6.8 now, Mount Leinster. Got a lot in his favour, obviously, and he's on a good mark. Ilarab, 7.6, 12.5 last year's winner. Fujiara Prince, 13. Miran for Johnny Murta. Sonny Boy Liston, 14. Another Johnny Murta horse. Don't fancy either of them. Tribal Craft, 14. Along with Roberto Escobar, 15. Global Storm. Whole host of horses in there with chances. I like last year's winner in the race. The more I look at it, I was just hoping that one of those showers did come and just open up the ground a little bit. But Fujiara Prince, it's such a compressed handicap now because it's such a good race. There's only little over a stone between the top weight and the bottom weight. When you look at his runs after he won the Ebor last year, he finished second in the Irish St. Leger to Search for a Song on good ground as well. He was just in front of the Melbourne Cup winner Twilight Payment there. Then he went to he was third in the Ascot Stayers race, the Trushan, and Search for a Song again. And first time up this season, he looked badly and needed a run in that John Smith Stakes, that Hookham one that we covered on the show, which is not a bad run at all. So I think he's £6 more than he was last year. He was 108. He's 114 now. He has to be there or thereabouts, provided that the ground isn't just a little bit too quick for him. And I don't think it is. And I'm willing to take a chance at the price. But what I'm going to do, please, we're going to go on to the sports book for this one, please, Roscoe. And we're going to, there's 6 places here in the sports book market, I think. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, fifth of the odds for 6.
Yeah, 6 places. And we're going to have 25 quid each way. Currently, he's a 10 to 1 chance, but 6 places, we're going to have 25 quid each way on Fujiara Prince.
There we go. Job done.
Last year's winner, Fujiara Prince. Okay, then for Barry Orr, getting the Ebor tips out of the way. You've got plenty of time, 20 minutes. In fact, there'll probably be a tad over there over that time as well. 300 grand to the winner. Who takes that lovely prize, Kate Tracey?
Oh, well, I was all over Hamish from quite a way out, so that's worked out brilliantly because I thought he could overcome the absence, but the rain obviously hasn't come in time for him. They don't want to risk a delicate horse on this ground. So Barry's going to think I'm completely copying him today, but I am also with last year's winner as well, with Fujiara Prince.
Talk us through why.
Because there's just no pace in this race. There really isn't. There's a significant lack of pace, and he is definitely a horse who can take advantage of the lack of pace in this race. He has a high draw as well in 19, which should also favour him. And he did win this race last year off of a mark of 108. He was ridden prominently then. There was just basically no chance for any horse that was held up in last year's renewal. So I think that may well happen again here. And he is running off of a £6 higher mark in the race this time around. It's not a huge rise, though. And he has earned his mark of 114 now as well. You know, that hasn't been as though it's just been a rise that he's found himself upon. He has earned that because since his Ebor win last year, he's run a cracker to finish second in the Group 1 Irish St. Leger, third in the Group 2 long distance Cup at Ascot, returned last time out, solid third over this course and distance behind Hookham, who's bolted up since, as we've just been saying, under a penalty in the Group 3 Geoffrey Freer on his next start. So this mark really does look feasible for him to overcome. And should he have the run of the race under Andrea Azzini as well? So I just think this race could play to his factor again. And I do think he's gone on from winning it last year.
The cream will rise then in the Ebor, according to Kate Tracey and Barry Orr. Ross Brierley.
Well, I mean, the ground has maybe scuppered one of them. I'm just going to, before I do that, just going to pick up the pace angle, because this is it's a constant nightmare, isn't it, when you're analysing races. You're thinking, you look at something, you go, there's no pace here, and one of them goes, well, there's no pace. So
they've all cited it. They've all thought the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, taking each other on. Yeah.
So, for example, I read 2 previews yesterday. One of them said this will be run at a crawl and there's only 2 front runners. And then another one said this is likely to be a disputed lead and a strong gallop from the outset. So, and these are experts who you know,
and differing then, yeah.
They're not just someone who's having a quick look at a pace map. These are people who are creating the pace maps. So that tells you how hard it is to work out. Because I looked at this and thought, yeah, where are the obvious front runners? Maybe Max Vega, maybe McElwee, and maybe Mount Leinster. So you've got a few.
Mount Leinster, does anyone know what he's going to do? I mean,
I don't think Mount Leinster knows what Mount Leinster's going to do.
Right. Is this just a Mullins thing then? Do you know? He's won everything, hasn't he?
Yes, but dual-purpose horses in the last few years haven't got a good record in this race either. So
Irish isn't Ascot, is it?
Irish
No,
do.
this
No,
is a very different
exactly. This
proposition.
is at York, and I mean Mount Leinster. He is the most fascinating horse, I think. The question for me with him was the ground. It's not to say he's unproven on quicker ground, but he's a jumps horse naturally. Most of his racing has come through the winter. He would have encountered soft ground mostly. And so that is a question whether or not he's going to handle this sort of ground. And he's never faced a race such as the Ebor, as a big flat handicap. He's clearly, I think he is the best workhorse at Willie Mullins' yard. You know why he got his name? He got his name after...
Yeah, it's their hill, isn't it?
Yeah, the hill that overlooks Close
Boneset,
Sutton.
I'm sure.
And they wanted to save the name for a good
Yes.
one. They gave it to him. I heard that from a very early stage. There's probably a few cliffs on Mount Leinster, which I've followed this horse over as well in his bumper years. So, but he is a very good horse. And I think he may well have found his niche now, but he's another horse that has to overcome a lengthy absence. Not that you'd be too concerned about that from a Mullins horse.
Not really. You wouldn't, would you?
Not a
You
bad
shouldn't be
angle.
concerned about anything from that yard, I don't think. Yeah.
Not a bad angle. There's only been one horse. There's two horses in the past 10 years have raced off the back of a 350-day absence, and one of them won. That was Litigant at 33-1. Monica Sheriff last year for Haggis came off the seasonal reappearance, finished fourth. So it can be done.
Yeah.
I'm kind of hoping that the withdrawal of one Haggis horse sets it up for another, because when Ilarab won last season at York, I said, this is a group horse in a handicap. I thought he was an absolute monster. He won first time out this year, beating Raymond Tusk in rock-solid form as well. And he came off the bridle about 3 furlongs out, and you thought, oh, maybe he needs this run. And he powered home, and he won in incredibly impressive fashion. Off the back of that, he went off 4-1 for the Hardwick. Wonderful Tonight, Broome, Hookham, Albaflora, Sir Ron Priestley. He was 4-1 in that, in soft ground at Ascot. So if he's 4-1 in a Group 2, I know he's shortened up now, but...
Can I give you a bit more
handicap.
confidence about this? Haggis, I interviewed Mr. Haggis after that, and he told us that Ilarab was better going left-handed as well.
I think, yeah, it
He
seems
said
like
that would be
with the ground for him.
the ground. I think it should be all
Is that a
right.
concern?
Softer would be better, I think, Barry.
I think it's I think it's okay. It's not perfect. It's still pretty quick, isn't it? So yeah, that is a slight concern.
It's the same with me with Fujiara Prince. You know, that's another concern. It's
You
the
wanted a bit
ground. You
more.
know, just how fast is it? You would like to see a drop of rain, but I just glancing at pictures there, and all the bookmakers have their umbrellas up. So I hope it's lashing.
It was meant to come at about 3:30. That was exactly the time it was about to come. So
Heavens, open ye doors and pour down the rain. I'm hoping exactly the same thing for Tribal Craft, who I've got on top. This has got some real top form in the book, isn't it? The aforementioned Wonderful Tonight, the only thing that got anywhere near it in the final furlong. Yes, probably ridden to pick up the pieces that day, but is a course and distance winner here. We were covering the day when she beat Albaflora and the likes. Of course, really, really good form. And I just like her. I think David Probert, it's the Melrose Ebor double.
Yeah.
Is that something that happens, the Melrose Ebor double? Probably not,
in
is it?
terms of yards.
Yeah. That is almost like the autumn double, isn't it? You know what I mean? That is a prestigious.
I was going to say,
double.
because of course, I mean, Hamish was trying to do the Melrose
Yes.
Ebor double in a way, wasn't he?
Well, the
Yeah,
same
in a
card is
delayed
what I mean.
way,
yeah.
Not just the horses. The yard taking out the Melrose, Andrew Balding, Valley Forge, and now
I'll try and find it if you want.
I ask them, bats them back. Don't worry about it. We'll get there. So we're around about 10, 15 minutes away from the 2021 Ebor. Really, really, really competitive stuff. And you can see.
Do you want to do a Grand National? Do you want to do it? Try and mention every horse.
I've got a feeling they might throw that at us. I can hear some pesky producer in my ear. All right, Miran, of course, is the spotlight pick. The nap, and as we often say on this show, it's Richard Austin who, in fact, does do the spotlight. He is the boss of the spotlight division, if you like, and he always napping the big races. And Miran for him. Now, Miran, I thought he had a chance, Barry. You quickly dismissed him.
Yeah, I can't have him. He just doesn't win enough for me. He's not that he's inconsistent. He runs well, but I just doubt his courage sometimes in the heat of the battle. His last run in Leopardstown over a wholly inadequate 1 mile 2 furlongs was a good run, finishing fast. The run before that in Royal Ascot, he got a funny sort of ride because he was with him. Then he dropped right out. It turned into the straight. He was stone cold last. Now it was heavy ground in Royal Ascot, but he ran on obviously behind Quickthorn to finish fourth. That was a decent run. I'm not sure about the horse, Dave. He's rated 103, and I don't think there's much fat in his mark. There's 103 over here. What's he got in? Yeah, 103. So, yeah, I can't have him. No, I'm not sure about his heart in the battle, to tell you the truth.
He caught my eye a little bit at Ascot. I thought he's sure to win. I just wondered whether it was a bit short for him last time. So,
that was only a park opener last day for here. Obviously, dropping him back to a mile 2. You know what I mean? Like, that was never going to be his. Right. That's not his trip. But Ascot, he looked weird in Ascot, the way he dropped right out, turned into the straight, and then he ran on. Whether he's just kind of flattered, passing tired horses to finish fourth, but not for me. Neither are Johnny's for me.
Group 1 Johnny's horses, when they come over, they tend to be a couple of points maybe under what they might be from other yards.
He's won one horse in this race, and it won, and that was Mutual Regard. So he's got 2 in here. He's got Sonny Boy Liston, of course, who's a really nice horse. I mean, Sonny Boy Liston's been running against Broome, Japan, Hookham. He's another one. You look at a handicap, you think, can we find a group horse in a handicap? Yes. There you go. You've got a group horse in it. You've got loads of group horses in handicaps here. It is essentially a group race with.
Well, in that case,
it is a group race, isn't it? When you look at how compressed the handicap is, it really is a group race.
You can't have hid your light under too much of a bushel, can you?
No, you can't to even get into the race in the first place, and I think that's why it is a positive.
A game race, isn't it?
Yeah.
So because it's so valuable, because it's a group race, as a handicap, so valuable now, and that's why you see horses like Humanitarian or Hamish or Mount Leinster. There's just no point in running before, and then get them fit now. This is the pot we want to go to. Shall we go up the market and have?
Sure.
Let's do like a national thing, like a pin stickers, just a couple of lines if you like. I'll start, and we'll go up the market. Mackawee never wins. Likes York, never wins. Could run a race, but never wins. Has one over the distance, has one over the goals. Ross, you think I'm being a bit dismissive there, don't you? I can tell.
I was just trying to work out where you'd started from on the market.
Mackawee.
So
Right
number 20.
Shanroe.
I'm going...
Shanroe, no?
Shamro's the bottom one.
Is he? Oh, right, OK. So I missed one out. All right.
It's all right. I thought you were just picking ones.
No, I'm going from the market. All right, OK. All right, OK.
Oh, from the market. Oh, Blue
that was a
Cup's
great
the outside
start.
of it.
From the betting.
Yes, that's what I'm doing. All right, let's go up. All right, OK, fair enough. Shanroe, Barry, tell us, give us a line on Shanroe.
Yeah, it was a win and you're in race. He won. I'm not sure he'd be in this only for that. It was a good run. Pondus, one of Joseph O'Brien's, he beat. Not without a chance. Gets in there off 9-1. Robbie Colgan, very, very capable jockey and underrated.
OK, all right then. So not without a chance, Shanroe. Mackawee, we know what I think of her.
Yeah, we've got
Get that one out of the way. Kate Tracey Quickthorn.
I like Quickthorn. He's a big, scopy type, and his win at Ascot was very likeable, I thought. But then, obviously, last time out, back at York in the Group 3, it just didn't fire, did he, in the John Smith Silver Cup? So this should be much better again. I still think there's improvement to come from him, considering his size and scope, the son of Nathaniel, that he can pick back up from where he left off back in a handicap again. So plenty I did like about him. And then, of course, the form of Hughie Morrison as well, coming to the fore recently, has been solid as well. So, but still 3. So that's not necessarily going to be in his favour. But but on his pedigree, I'd say that this trip should be, should seem to really good effect.
Kate, if we're going to get through all these.
I'll tell you what, you can I think she might like him. I think she might like him.
Before, Kate's knowledge of the form book is so deep that it is.
Can you tell
You
I
don't
backed him?
say.
Can you tell I backed him for the Duke of Edinburgh?
And of course, Hughie Morrison, and we're continuing one horse here. Hughie Morrison said in his paper comments today, in the members section as well, that was one of the best trials, always is every year for the Ebor. We'll try and forget his last run. It was his last run that put me off. Miran, we've done. Range of opinions on Miran. On to victory, Ross Brierley.
Yeah, soft ground, November handicap winner last year, £5 above that mark. I think that will be the aim, and today will be a creditable run we'll be happy with.
Ooh, we've already got another. Yes, OK, I absolutely get that. OK, Tribal Craft we've done. Global Storm, Barry Orr.
Yeah, the Godolphin horses, obviously their main hope didn't get in. Was one of the reserves, a second to Live Your Dream in Newmarket on good to firm ground. That reads okay. He's rated 104 now, not without a chance, but wouldn't be carrying my money.
Okay, yes, absolutely. I think I would agree with that. Mount Leinster we've done. Humanitarian, Dave Orton, all right. Where's the hood? What's all that about for Humanitarian? Classy horse, could still have a bit of juice in his handicap mark. James Doyle, John and Thazy Gosden. An old firm, that, isn't it? Could be classy, would like to see more money in the market. Pablo Escobar, Kate Tracey.
The lesser of the Escobars for me in this race. The quirkier one of the Escobars for me. I just don't feel he, again, as we were touching on beforehand, he wins enough and consistent enough, but I couldn't trust him.
The most famous of the Escobars, but the lesser of the Escobars of Kate Tracey, who successfully packaged that up. You're getting this, Kevin. Max Vega, Ross Brierley, an unforgotten name, sort of a forgotten name, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. He's got an air of Sam Cook about him, who was well handicapped for Rafe Beckett the other day.
Don't talk about it.
Exactly, we all should have backed
yes,
him, yeah. Well, Lucander runs later. It could be a proper Beckett day where you go, oh my God.
He nap that, hasn't he, Lucander? I think it's one of his naps.
Well, it's because he's got all these horses well handicapped for this meeting. He's a pace angle, and he clearly, I mean, he was held up last time out. It was that Hookham race. I mean, you look at it back in hindsight, everything in behind there's turned up here. They went, Hookham, you go and win it, and we'll get fit for the Ebor, and he's another one. So I think he could outrun his odds.
OK, could it be the same for Roberto Escobar, course and distance winner, Kevin Stott on Barrior?
Yeah, like the Jockey Road, just another bottle last week. He's riding really, really well, and this is a horse that has a big, big chance. Obviously, he won the Winning You're In race over the course and distance just a couple of weeks ago. His fourth to Hookham ties in, obviously, with Fujiara Prince. I think he could run a big race.
Another bottle. Ring the bell there for Barry.
He likes good ground, fast ground as well, which we've talked about. Nearly 80% of the field here were waiting for rain, and it's not. Well, we haven't seen it now, but it hadn't come earlier.
Sonny Boy Liston, we did give him a mention, didn't we? But smooth preparation. I just think that the handicapper might have Sonny Boy Liston, that's Dave Orton, on the chances of him. So you're probably going to want to go and get him greened up now, I would imagine. Blue Cup, Kate Tracey.
Yes, worn a hood for last 3 starts, which has seen him to much better effect. But this trip is a total unknown, and especially the fact he wears that hood may not settle. The furthest he's run over is 10 furlongs, so I'm just, 10.5 furlongs, so I'll leave him at that.
Just needs to settle that one, Roscoe, doesn't he? It's just that simple, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, he's got...
We thought he might be the next Thundering Blue, didn't we, earlier in the season? It's not
Whereas
quite...
Migration might end up being the next Thundering Blue later on in the card.
Yes, OK, all right. Alunak.
Yeah, one run over this trip was in Germany, and to be fair, Alunak seems like a horse that I've seen a lot of, but you have to remember he's only gone to Andrew Balding last summer. He's come down from 114 to 102 when he won at Haydock. And last time out, it wasn't a bad run at Goodwood. Again, he's another one. The yard, the jockey, they've been here before, and I wouldn't like to write off a Balding horse at this moment in time.
Absolutely not. Yeah, old Newton Cup form. Could he be overpriced? What about Eagles by Day, Barrior? This time last year, he was running in the Lonsdale Cup.
Yeah, he won the John Smith Silver Cup, didn't he? The Group 3 last year. His run in Goodwood in the Queen's Plate was off the back of a really, really long break, and that wasn't a bad run at all behind Passion and Glory. He was only beaten 8 lengths, not without a chance. His form ties in, obviously, with Alunak and Yukon Glen, but yeah, it has a chance, but not for me.
OK, away he goes. Ishmael Mohammed, Dane O'Neill, give a word on this. Is he in the outside draw? He is, isn't he? Not a bad thing, the way the track has been going. Dane O'Neill takes over from Jim Crowley. Trushan form, isn't it, of course, and subjectivist form earlier in the year. Overpriced, I think we can say that.
I mean, at Maidan, he was, where was he? He was 3.5 lengths ahead of Spanish Mission. So,
He's got lucky with the ground as well, hasn't he?
Well, he said, at Goodwood, he said, he doesn't want soft ground. Then he went and ran a career best. So.
I think I've always had him down as being slightly better on top of the ground. It was eye-popping.
Either way, he handles everything on so far, doesn't he? Strong traveller as well.
Feels like that one as well, doesn't he?
And Ishmael Mohammed already having a winner this week with Zane Claudette.
Yeah, Zane Claudette. And he flagged this up as a big chance as well in his post-race interview about Zane Claudette.
Yes, did so in the post this morning as well. Ilarab, we've done. Fujiara Prince, we've done, which leaves Kate Tracey to finish them with the lovable Yukon Glen.
Oh, he is a star, isn't he? And, I mean, this was sort of my angle in originally with Hamish, because when you're looking for horses in this race who have anything to hide from the handicapper, which isn't the case in the Ebor, then you looked for the best horse in the race. Luke and Glenn is the best horse in the race, and Hamish, I thought, was going to be sort of second behind him to prove it up. But he's just a superstar. He's taken his form to such new heights this year. There's nothing that would surprise me about Luke and Glenn nowadays. But his handicap mark obviously reflects that. But it is a good, yet another. The Ebor's just getting better and better. And off of top weight here, he is a very difficult horse to dismiss and at this track.
Ross, something to add on this. Jim Goldie's comment was brilliant, wasn't it, in the papers today? If you win an Ebor, you're a bit of a legend.
You're a legend. Yeah, you can win group races, but if you win the Ebor, you're a legend.
Whoever took that quote down must have had to do it about 10 times, because trust me, Jim is not the easiest person to take a quote off, let me tell you, or interview for that matter.
Melrose Ebor double. 2004, 2007, same trainer both years.
Ooh. Oh man, alive.
Who was the man for that kind of thing?
Haggis horse.
Oh, no.
Back then?
Yeah.
Jumps trainer? No. What, staying trainer?
I mean, handicap trainer, just a proper handicap.
Prescott?
No,
not Economy Prescott. Who?
Barry, any ideas?
Sorry, what was that?
Melrose and Ebor double, 2004 and 2007 it was done. Same trainer did it both years.
Mark Johnson?
Oh, it wasn't. It was Luca Kumani.
Oh.
I mean, he looked at me like I should get that. You were like, can I get
Luca Kumani was at that time...
He got trained for about 10 years. I was supposed to get that.
Because it was 2004, 2007. He's not training now, yeah. I said
sometimes when you do this show, you look at each other before you talk and you're like, I know where you're going with this. That was an absolute... I had no chance of this. But what you're saying is that Andrew Balding should take inspiration.
I think he should. I mean, Purple Moon won it in 2007. Of course, globe-trotting group horse.
Yeah.
It can be done. And I would say that, Andrew Balding is as good as Luca Kumani is at the moment at placing the horse in the right races.
I'm going to come to Barry Orr in a minute on that front. Let it not be said on Racing Post Live that we never pre-race mention a winner. I think it's fair to say. We got the Ebor covered there, guys.
Covered that one now.
A reminder of the tips. It's a two-way split pretty much. Kate, Tracey, Barry Orr both think this will be a repeat win for Fujiara Prince, keeping it to the class. Illarab for Ross Brierley. You've got Tribal Craft next best.
It was basically to see what the weather was like, and the rain has just come. It's not going to get into the ground as much, but I think Tribal Craft does have a huge chance. Just proper mile 6, York, soft ground, Balding. I mean, everything is in its favour, isn't it?
Who's excited? It's Ebor time. We're here. Barry Orr, what's the market done since we did our pin stickers guide?
Yeah, so a couple of movers. Sonny Boy Listen Strong, 13 from 18. Roberto Escobar, 10.5 from 18. Max Vega is 28 from 34. Humanitarian is 14 from 22. And Illarab, probably the strongest of the lot, was 13. Now, that was when Hamish was in the market, but he's into 7.2 now and is going to go off clear favourite, I would imagine. Really, really strong Illarab.
Mr. Haggis, then. OK, William said to me after he won, I called it the Illarab race to him. It was so impressive that day at the Dante meeting. He said, I said, this is your Ebor horse, right? And he went, he'll have a... And he got it right. He said, 110. He said, it doesn't make it impossible, an Ebor.
No, absolutely not. He is a group horse. I think I'm almost 99% convinced of that. But like we were saying just a moment ago, so are half this field.
Right, it's an absolute belter then, isn't it? What we've got, how many we've got still to go in?
This is what they should do with the Irish Ledger, Dave. They should turn it into a handicap like this, because it's a race that's it's just stuck there in the calendar.
It's not a Group 1 anymore, is it? I mean, is it the weakest of the Irish Group 1s?
Without a shadow of a doubt, yeah. And it doesn't get the runners. It doesn't get good field at all. Sometimes you take Aidan O'Brien's runners out of it, you'd only have a handful. And if they made it into a top-staying handicap like they have the Ebor, it'd be a fantastic race. It truly would. It could be the race that everyone will go to after the Ebor as well.
Wow, there you go. I mean, wow. A
cool.
Ledger handicap. Who likes that idea?
I love that.
Out the box thinking for the big hitter then.
It won't happen because it would be a really good positive move.
The IHRB. Who'd have thought it?
Wouldn't do it.
No, they probably wouldn't do it. Yeah, it's a race that definitely needs looking at without shadow of a doubt. Fujiara Prince third in it last year. After winning this, will he come back to form? A couple more going in. Good luck wherever you've decided to play, however many darts you have thrown. Let's hope one hits the bullseye in the Ebor. 3 more to go in. Interesting handover time this to Ross Brierley.
Thank you very much, Mr. Orton. Let's see how they line up. Will there be no pace? Will there be a strong pace?
Yeah, We'll find out soon enough. I'm hoping for no pace, and I'm hoping Fujairah Prince can get onto the front
It's
end.
an Ebor. There's got to be
Mount
pace in an
Leinster
Ebor.
could get lit up on
Wasn't
the back
last
of his
year.
break. He could get really lit up and could charge out in front here.
I remember sitting in here on so-called Super Saturday, Barry, when we thought, I think at least 80% of those big field handicaps were an absolute crawl. And it got to the John Smith's Cup and we were like, please, and it happened. And yeah, so let's hope it doesn't happen today. It's gone murky, which is perfect for the commentator.
It's like we're at Haydock, isn't it, on Betfair Day?
Okay, here we go. Who's going to go on to make the lead? Yukon Glen, completely surprisingly, has gone from his usual hold-up tactics to make the running. In behind those, we've got Eagles by Day coming over from a very wide draw as well to try and get involved. Quickthorn is back.
There's loads of pace on.
And suddenly, there's keen horses all over the shop. Eagles by Day is doing a solo from that wide draw, which, given where they've come for this, the majority of this card so far, isn't the worst idea. Fujairah Prince is just tracking over as well on the outside of runners. There's a few keen out the back as well, but it's quite hard to make out exactly what.
I'm so glad you're calling this. Away he goes, I can tell you, is I
Lunac
think
is
the
a
back
bit keen,
market, isn't he?
Yeah. In fact, Humanitarian is now coming through. So they look to be pace on. Now they've slowed it down, and a few horses have come through. Humanitarian.
Blue Cup's up
there as well. What on
The
earth
world
is
has
going
gone
on?
mad.
Mount Leinster last.
Yeah, which I thought he was going to be one of our pace angles.
And Max Vega. This is the most confusing lineup of horses I've seen in quite a while. But either way, Humanitarian's come through here now. Barry, any moves?
Humanitarians into 10 off the back of that move. Mount Leinster 13.5 because he's stone cold last. 12.5 Illarab. Sonny Boy Liston into 10. Whole host of horses shortening up that are up there. Blue Cap is an interesting one as well that we gave a mention to beforehand. He's still 95. He's the best player at SP in 93.
Yeah, for a horse who usually comes from 6 lengths tailed off to win, Blue Cup is suddenly in second.
What do we want? Are we watching the Ebor? I mean, this is madness. What's Yukon Glen doing in fourth?
I mean, Fujairah Prince has got a lovely posse there.
He does. He has a really lovely pose because I don't think these two are here by design.
They've gone
They have gone
these
steady,
guys.
but
Solid enough, haven't they?
Yeah.
Okay, Blue Cup is in front, remarkably. Humanitarian, Yukon Glen, Eagles by Day, Quickthorn.
Shanroe
Fujairah
catching
Prince.
my eye.
Yeah, Shamro's travelling very well, as is on to the victory. Quickthorn down that inside, as we mentioned. Miran out the back, Mount Leinster, Illarab, away he goes. Is a traveller and is still on the bridle as well. Macawee's going very well. Looking for Tribal Craft off the bridle. Shanroe is travelling very well. Miran, Quickthorn
Come the
comes to break it up.
closers.
Quickthorn is given a kick and goes on.
Away he goes, guys. He's going to need a run.
Sonny Boy Liston is looking for it. Away he goes. He's also very strong traveller out the back. Humanitarian is completely
Tribal Craft, no run.
Here comes Sonny Boy Liston for Johnny Murtagh, looking to make it 2 wins in the race, and he's got a huge chance
Fujairah's running
here.
a biggie. Shanroe on the inside.
Shanroe, Alunak also coming from the back.
Quickthorn.
He won't stop.
Quickthorn is battling on, but Sonny Boy Liston. And here comes Alunak from the back as well.
Liston's got it, is he?
Maybe looking for that balding double, but it's Sonny Boy Liston.
he's coming back.
Goodness, he's
Quickthorn.
getting- he's got it.
Alunak still staying on. Sonny Boy Liston, though.
Johnny.
He said he was a group horse in a handicap, and he goes on to
Whoa.
score. Beats Quickthorn, Alunak, Shamroe, and Mount Leinster came from God knows where to finish 5th. Johnny Murtagh.
He knows
Wins it
what he's
again.
doing.
He
He knows
does.
what he's doing.
Sonny Boy Liston in the 2021 Ebor lands the knockout punch. The two of them claim clear, eyeballed each other all the way at the home straight. It was something of a slow motion finish. We think he's got there, Barrier.
There's just no doubt he has. He's 101 obviously on the exchange, so yeah, he's won. Your runner-up, Quickthorn, hit a low of 2.2 in running. What else was there? We also had Alunak. That ran on well. That hit a low of 2.7. I heard you mention in the commentary Mount Leinster came from a whole way back. He's at 5.81. He hit a low of. That could have been pre-race now. Shanroe, that also traded at, oh God, just give me a second here. Shanroe traded a low of 6, not too low, but some
Away he
record Johnny
goes as
Murtagh in
well.
that race now, hasn't he? He's ran 3 horses and he's won it twice.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic.
This race, yeah.
And of course, we know he's got one of the big players for the St Ledger Barrier as well. Not the same connection as Miran. Johnny he was Group 1 Johnny for a reason. He is becoming quickly one of the target trainers out there. Emmett Mullins, watch your back.
Yeah, well, it has to be said, Dave, his horses are absolutely flying this season. They really are. He's having group winners here in Ireland, left, right and centre. The horse in the St Ledger that had won in Goodwood, that Ottoman Emperor.
Yes.
Yeah, he looks a really nice sort. And yeah, he's a real live chance of the St. Ledger.
I'll tell you who caught my eye there throughout was Shanro. There's a big prize in him. I'm just looking to see if he's in Cesaro.
By the way, I should say it wasn't Mount Leinster. I got it wrong. Apologies. I got the caps wrong. It was Max Vega. It was the other one in red who's rattled home. So actually, it was Max Vega who came from the back.
Do you think we're looking at a Cesarowicz trial here? The horses running off on the back, or I mean, this is the prize, isn't it, for stayers and the handicap division?
Well, I mean, the winner. We were talking about the Irish St. Ledger, and that seems an obvious move for him, doesn't he? Like I said, he'd be running against Japan and Broome and all sorts of group horses. And the other thing as well, I said before, just before the race, that Hookham race, in hindsight, everything in that said, you know, crack on, mate. You win your Group 3. We're going to go for the Ebor.
Right.
And who was 6th and 8th? Sonny Boy Liston and Quickthorn. Who was 7th? Max Vega. So that's the trial for that for that race, wasn't it?
Note it down. Great St Wilfrid a week before this next year. Whatever leads wins. Whatever's running the Silver Cup.
Yeah.
Back it for the Ebor.
Just gets a cosy ride into mid-division.
And whatever's rated 108. Fujera Prince rated 108 last year. Mustajir rated
He ran well,
108.
didn't he, considering?
Yeah, considering the weight and considering... he really did.
108. Yeah. That's the angle.
And 109 for Muntaha, so literally just under 110.
There's your result on screen then. Who was with Group 1 Johnny and Sonny Boy Liston? Graham Rodway's horse, Quickthorn, just missing out for absolutely horses in form. Huey Morrison, Alunak, Old Newton Cup comes to the fore. And Shanro, the dual-purpose Irish Raider, runs an absolute belter. There are some SPs then. That is the result of the 2021 Ebor. This has been Racing Post Live on the last... Have we got one more in it in August? What day? We have got one more in August, haven't we?
Yeah, bank holiday next week.
We're the 21st, so we've got, plenty more to come here on RP Live before we go into the crescendo of the flat season and the jumpers think about coming out. Kate Tracey, a solid debut at that.
Thank you.
You enjoyed yourself.
I've loved it. It has flown by. You weren't kidding beforehand, but no, this has been brilliant. So thank you so much for having me.
We're getting great feedback already. You told me, having worked with Kate before, that she knew all about the form book. It's been borne out.
Absolutely.
I asked her for one line on Quickthorn. I got War and Peace, and it nearly won.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Kate's knowledge is... That's what I said to you, second to none. Absolutely second to none.
Thank you very much. You're both very kind. Thank you.
Go back to Tom George's now and tell them all about it. Don't worry, Tom, we won't be asking you for a seat, I don't think, anytime soon. OK, Barry Orr, we've had good fun again. You'll be back?
Yeah, back next Saturday, the Celebration Mile. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, back to Goodwood we go then, the mile division. Thanks, Barry Orr. That's been absolutely fantastic. Highlight of the day, Barry. Highlight of the week, perhaps.
Highlight of the week has to be Snowfall. I thought she was exceptional. And another filly, the filly that won the Nunthorpe yesterday, Winter Power. I thought two exceptional fillies and great to see. Thanks, Kate. Great job today. And thanks, Ross. Some great calls again. Well done.
Thanks so much, Barry. Great to speak to you.
Great to have the big hitter with us then. Great to have you with us. Great to have Ross Brierley. It's been a brutal week for you, man.
Oh, yeah, it's been a long one, hasn't it? I mean, Saffron Beach is a good result, but everything else to this week I've backed has finished second or third. You're just waiting for one of them, a Magical Morning or an Isla Kai or something, just to give you a win. Or
Saffron Beach, Sun Chariot or Woodbine International. Jane wants to go to Jane Jabberwan.
Yeah.
Reach for the moon.
Sun Chariot, because I think it'd be an absolute blinder.
Perfect for Sun Chariot.
Looks right, doesn't it? Reach for the moon. We're going to see him plenty. Apparently, he needs racing to learn.
We could go to
Champagne.
Yeah, and
Champagne and Dewhurst.
Dewhurst, definitely. Yeah.
Royal Lodge, yeah.
I was going to say Royal Lodge, yeah, because he's a 10. Next year he's a 10th earl.
A bit of a grinder, isn't he, as opposed to maybe Point Lonsdale, who runs tonight. What fun we've had then. OK, thanks, Barry Orr. Thanks to Kate Tracey. Thanks to Ross Brierley. Thanks to you. Thanks to Dan Walls and Rob Lee in the gallery as well. I've been Dave Orton. See you next Saturday here on RP Live.